I'm going live. All right, so we're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. What's going on, social media? Please note that people on Wisdom app, we are just setting up right now for a live broadcast of the Mark G Show that will be on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We are also live on the Wisdom app, which I like being live on, only because people on Wisdom, you guys can chime in during the live recording and give us your opinions or chime in on the conversation that we're talking about. Tonight's topic is the Twitter files. We have 4 new parts of the Twitter files that have been released over the course of the week since our last recording. So we're going to go through them all as quickly as possible. So both of us don't have 2 to 3 hours to sit here and really barrel out this. So, and segments versus picking at it after I just read one phrase. We'll probably go through multiple phrases before we stop, talk, and then proceed further into the Twitter files. So I'm thinking that's how we should do it today.
All right.
So this way here, we're not taking 4 or 5 hours going through this. All right. You ready to get the recording going?
Are you going to press all the record buttons?
I am. Thank you. Right. Yes. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, you pressing the record button. I'm about 2 seconds away. Hitting the record and then hitting the intro. Here we go. Right. How's it going, Madison Lalonde? I see you out there on Facebook. All right, here we go. Going live. 3, 2, 1, and go.
A lot of podcasts these days. Tippy toe around everybody's little feelings. The little snowflakes are fragile. But you won't get any of that crap here. Welcome to the Mark G Show. From political issues to cultural issues to current events and everything in between, we're talking about it. And we talk about it how we want, melting the little snowflakes. This is the Mark G Show, and this is Mark G.
What is going on, everybody? Hey, I'm Mark G. My co-host is Gary G. That's right. That's my brother over there, rocking it with the afro. When else do you see a white man rocking an afro? Brother, what is happening, Gary? How are you, my man?
What is happening? This afro is subdued. It's fresh out the shower, so...
Fantastic. A lot has happened over the course of the week. And before we even start talking, even with our hellos, I'm going to get this out of the way now so I don't have to worry about it as we get in the heat of the moment thing. Yes, the lovely disclaimer, because we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, although I'm not too worried about Twitter anymore. But as far as Facebook and YouTube goes, I'm still a little more concerned. So let me get my little disclaimer out of here. Folks, if you're tuning into the show, please note that everything you're hearing on the show are the views and the opinions of myself, my brother, and any guests that may appear on or come onto the show from the Wisdom app or anywhere else, for that matter. And it is for solely entertainment purposes only. Do what you please with the information. If you question anything that we say, please feel free to research it yourself. Otherwise, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Gary, what is happening?
Well, I'm just looking forward to digging into these Twitter files. There's a lot of them.
Dude, we recorded last Monday and there's 4 new parts. That is fucking crazy. Elon Musk is going to town with his reporter friends, and there's just quite a bit of information today. Quite a bit of information out there. And
the whole process in itself is a great thing.
It is. I still wish they would have done it in a video format, but I kind of like it this way and I don't. The only reason why I don't like it this way, sometimes it's hard to follow along. But we're gonna rock it out. After our last show, we had Barry Weiss. She was the next one to release the second part of the Twitter files, and it was labeled the Twitter file part 2, Twitter's secret blacklist. Which is interesting, right? Because this is when we start learning about the censorship that's coming from Twitter and how they legitimately did, quote unquote, shadow ban people when they said they did not. Even Jack Dorsey said, "Oh, we don't shadow ban people." Remember when he stepped upon Congress and said that himself? But right. they have their own secret words from shadow banning. So Jack Dorsey also said, "Hey, we don't shadow ban, but we do this." But he didn't have to say that when he was in Congress. So that might be what saves his ass if he has to go back upon Congress to answer everything that's coming out in Twitter files. And before I jump into this too, I do want to say that I am noticing on Twitter, the Democratic Party is starting to lose their absolute shit on what's happening out here with these Twitter files. Matter of fact, I can't remember the congressman that came out and posted on Twitter. I wish I saved the tweet, but he posted on Twitter saying that they need to open an investigation on Elon Musk to see what foreign countries are involved, and it's making them release these. Like, are they that scared? Because Elon Musk is about ready to come out and start releasing stuff in regards to COVID. Hence the reason why he's hinting around with Dr. Fauci and all that stuff. Because I'm waiting for that, because that's going to be a big one. So I hope your 2-week break goes really fucking quick after this episode, so we can get back and talk about the Fauci ones, because that's going to be incredible. Without further ado, folks, let's jump in, because I could talk on forever. Madison, I do see you on Facebook. I'm sorry that you're still sick, and I hope you definitely do get better and you have a speedy recovery. All right, so here we go. Rocking it out with Barry Weiss. She's got part 2. We're going to go through, folks, for if you're just tuning in, let me explain how we're going to do this. There's been 4 new parts of the Twitter files that have been released. We are trying to cram this in between an hour and a half's worth of time. So we're going to go through them in different segments. I'm probably going to have to slow down when I get to pictures that have screenshots of certain things that we have to read. But we're going to try our best to kind of go through these Twitter files. And if anybody on Wisdom would like to chime in during the time of the Twitter files, please do. I will constantly look over at the screen to see if anybody's trying to ring in over on Wisdom. Without further ado, folks, Barry Weiss is the next person on part 2. Let me get started. Number 1. A new Twitter files investigation reveals that the teams of Twitter employees build blacklists, prevent disfavored tweets from trending. Dear God, I can't even speak. And actively limit the visibility of entire accounts or even trending topics, all in secret without informing users. Ow. Okay, let's keep moving. I know, right? Things that go, Twitter once had a mission to give everyone the power to create and share ideas and information instantly without barriers. Along the way, barriers nevertheless were erected. I know a few things that were erected. I got 5 kids. Take the example. I had to plug that joke. I'm sorry. That was that was a dad joke. I'm sorry. Take the example. Stanford Dr. J. Oh boy. Can you, you're not looking at this.
I'm not looking at the one you're looking at now.
All right. So Batachara. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name. I'm sorry. With Dr. J, we're just going to call him, who argued that COVID lockdowns would harm children. Twitter secretly placed him on Trend's blacklist, which prevented his tweets from trending. And what I'm going to do right now, for those who are watching on Facebook and YouTube and so forth, I am going to go ahead and open up this picture. And you're going to look at this Threads picture here. It is the Dr. J right here. And I'm not sure if we're looking, we must be looking at the Twitter back files here. If you're looking at this picture, it says a recent abuse strike. Let me pull this up. Actually, this is why I had that off. Stand by, folks. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to share the screen. John Timmons, how do you feel about the current state of, we'll get into that in a little bit, John. Right now we are going off the Twitter files. But man, I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. Give me 1 second, Gary. I'm going to get it up here.
I'm bullish on crypto.
You're bullish on crypto? Gotcha. Okay, so here we go. We're going to pull up the screen here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take off our screen, because that's why I had it off. I was wondering why our layout. There we go. All right, so as you can see here, Professor Stanford School of Medicine, MD, PhD, health policy, infectious disease, COVID, health, economics, whatnot. That's his profile. You can see he's got recent abuse strikes, Trends blacklist, strikes count. So he's got an active account, and he's currently on the Trends blacklist. See that's kind of sketchy, don't you think? Right. So this must be
I wonder why he's on the Trends blacklist.
Right. My guess is because it came up to, this is during the COVID episode, right? I'm guessing because he was talking about how COVID lockdowns would harm my children, which it definitely did. I 100% agree that it did. We can talk about that here in a little bit once we get through some more. And then I'm just going to keep, because this is actually
just plow through it. Just plow through it.
Or consider the popular right-wing talk show host Dan Bongino, who at one point was slapped with a search blacklist as well. So if you're looking at Dan Bongino's here on the right-hand side, you're going to see he's got a notification spike, search blacklist, Twitter blue verified, multiple accounts, strike count 0, NSFW view, and SPMA. So this is definitely the Twitter the Twitter log things that as a Twitter employee you would see with these photos. So you can see that they gave him a search blacklist. So therefore, if you're looking for something during the Dan Bongino show, you weren't going to find it. Quite interesting, ain't it?
It is. It really is.
So Twitter set the account of conservative activist Charlie Kirk to do not amplify. And if you're looking at the picture, you're going to see that he has that here as well. And of course, he doesn't have any recent abuse strikes. His notification spike. So my guess is, he's getting more notifications. Probably why he has notification spike there. But do not amplify. It's another very interesting thing here. Twitter denied that it does such things in 2018. Twitter Vijaya Gaddy, here we go with her name again, the head of legal policy and trust, and Kayvon Bakepour, head of product, said, "We do not shadow ban," they added, "and we certainly don't shadow ban based on political viewpoints or ideology." Interesting, because I just saw proof of that. What many people call shadow banning, Twitter executives and employees call visibility filtering, or VF. Multiple high-level sources confirmed its meeting. So I want to stop there real quick because we were just talking about that, right? When I was saying that Jack Dorsey may have a way to get out of possibly being prosecuted for lying upon Congress. That might be the loophole right there.
Right, for him.
Right. Saying, yes, I was correct. We do not shadow ban, but we do have the visibility filtering. But it's just another way of wording shadow ban. If you
and that's the thing that's like it's mental gymnastics. It's like they're just playing with words. Like, no, we are not shadow banning, and you can say that confidently, and you're not lying. But
right,
you're also being very disingenuous about the fact that you're doing view filtering, or whatever the fuck it's called, which is in fact another form or a subset of shadow banning, right? But it's just got a cute little title to it, so it doesn't sound so fucking mischievous. And I just that's the thing that just drives me through the roof with all of this. It's bullshit on language. They're just playing with language and making everything like fucking weird, and that's
playing with words.
That's just how they're getting away with that shit. And
exactly. Makes you want to punch a monitor. No, it's fine. Think about visibility. Number 8, think about visibility filtering as being a way for us to suppress what people see to different levels. It's a very powerful tool. One senior Twitter employee told us. VF refers to Twitter's control over user visibility. It used VF to block searches of individuals' users, to limit the scope of particular tweets' discoverability, to block select users' posts from ever appearing on the trending page, and from inclusion of hashtag searches. Very interesting. I'll talk about hashtags here shortly. All without users' knowledge. I don't know why. Why did she put that? I hate how they do this. See, that number 10 should have been right up with number 9.
Right.
We control visibility quite a bit, and we control the amplifications of your content quite a bit. And normal people do not know how much we do. One Twitter engineer told us. 2 additional Twitter employees confirmed. The group that decided whether to limit the reach of certain users was the Strategic Response Team, which we talked about last week, Global Escalation Team, and SRT-GET, straight Git, I guess, or it often handled up to 200 cases per day. That's fucking crazy. But there existed a level beyond official ticketing, beyond the rank and file moderators, following the company policy on paper. That is the Site Integrity Policy Escalation Support, known as SIP-PES. These fucking abbreviations are going to get to me. I'm going to come up with a bad dad joke soon. The secret group included head of legal policy and trust Vijaya Gaddy, the global head of trust safety, Yoel Roth, subsequent, oh God, help me.
Subsequent CEOs, Jack
Thank
Dorsey.
you. CEOs Jack Dorsey and Perig Agrawal and others. Folks, if I butcher these names, I do apologize. I am very bad at names. Hell, I'm bad at birth dates too. This is where the biggest, most politically sensitive decisions got made. Think high follower account, controversial. Another Twitter employee told us for these, there would be no ticket or anything. One of the accounts that rose to the level of scrutiny was Libs of TikTok. God, I love that account. An account that was on the trends blacklist and was designated as do not take action on user without consulting with SIP-PES. Dude, Libs of TikTok is a phenomenal account. I go on there and I watch that thing religiously and laugh quite a bit. There's so much stuff out there that just Why? So you're looking at this picture, though. You see that it does rate a high profile active notification spike, trends blacklist, recent abuse strike. They verified multiple counts, strike count. They've got 2 strikes on them. It's a high profile NSFW view and other. I wonder what the other is. Moving forward, though, the account with which Chaya Raychick began in November 2020 and now boasts over 1.4 million followers was subjected to 6 suspensions in 2022 alone. Raychick says each time Raychick was blocked from posting for as long as a week. Twitter repeatedly informed Raychick that she had been suspended for violating Twitter's policy against hateful conduct. I've never seen anything hateful on there. I've only seen her post repeats of TikTok videos. The account posting for Twitter repeatedly informs against hateful conduct. But in an internal SIPES memo from October 22, after her 7th suspension, the committee acknowledged that LTT has not directly engaged in behavior violating of the hateful conduct policy. See here. In a post, it looks like, here we go. There's an assessment. Let me pull up this image real quick, see if it pulls up. Stand by. I'm looking at the screen, folks. Okay, there we go. I got it nice and blown up now. All right, so site policy recommendation recommends placing libs of TikTok 1.3 million followers not verified in a 7-day timeout at the account level, meaning not for a specific tweet, based on the account's continued pattern of indirectly violating Twitter's hateful conduct policy by tweeting content that either leads to or intends to incite harassment against individuals and institutions that support LGBTQ communities. At this time, site policy is not found explicitly violative tweets, which would result in a permanent suspension of the account. This type of enforcement action, repeated 7-day timeouts at the account level, will not lead to permanent suspension. However, should LTT engage in any other direct tweet level, God, I feel so funny saying tweet level, violations of any site policies, we will move forward with a permanent suspension. The assessment, since its most recent timeout, while LTT has not directly engaged in behavior violative of the hateful conduct policy, the user has continued targeting individuals, allies, supporters of the dear God, why is this friggin' abbreviation get so big? LGBTQIA plus community for alleged misconduct, the targeting of at least one of these institutions. Okay, folks, please, for the love of God, lesbian, gay, or trans, that's it. Why the hell? LGBTQIA plus. What the hell does it all stand for?
Q is queer, right? Which is, isn't that just another? Is it queer? And isn't that just another word for gay?
I would assume.
And then
so.
What's the I? I don't know. Like I straight up don't know. An A is just asexual.
I think that is what it is.
Okay.
The asexual.
But what is the I?
I don't know. Like, I'm so lost. Like, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm old school. Somebody want to train me on this, but it's thought,
tough, man.
It is like, this is new stuff. This is where friggin' YouTube and Facebook may come after us. But seriously, when we're growing up, you were either gay or straight.
Right.
Gays was a guy who liked other men. Lesbians, obviously, female who liked, other females. That was it. It was lesbian, gay, and then there's trans, right? And then there's other stuff, but there was no LGBTQIA plus. Like, no. Okay, moving on. Sorry, folks. I'm lost. I'm old school. Leave me alone. All right, here we go. Number 20. Got to move forward. The committee justified her suspensions internally by claiming her posts encouraged online harassment of hospitals and medical providers by insinuating that gender-affirming healthcare is equivalent to child abuse or grooming. I will get into that in another episode. Compare this as to what happened. Raychick herself was doxxed on November 21st, 2022. A photo of her home with her address was posted in a tweet that has garnered more than 10,000 likes. Okay, to me, that seems a little bit more dangerous at that point. When Raychick told Twitter that her address has been disseminated, she says Twitter support responded with a message. We reviewed the report content, didn't find it to be in violation of Twitter rules. No action was taken. The doxing tweet stayed up and is still up. And here's the image for those who are watching. Pulling it up now on the screen. This is Twitter support responding back to her. Hello, thanks for reaching out. We reviewed the report content and didn't find it to be in violation of Twitter rules. In this case, no action will be taken at this time. If you have further concerns, blah, 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 blah. So this post is still up. They doxed her, and all the information is still on there. So that don't violate it, right? So putting someone's address, personal address of their home, right up on the web for anybody to see, saying, "Listen, here you go," is not violating it, but yet you're going to post your thoughts and your opinions on certain matters. That violates. I'm lost. Let's move forward.
Hold on.
Twitter.
Didn't they, wasn't, so that was, if, so someone put a conservative address on Twitter. Is that what you're saying? Is that what
Correct.
that person is? Okay.
Yeah.
So didn't somebody just recently show up outside of some of the past Twitter employees' private residence, and now they're really like upset about that?
Yes. Yeah,
but
I
they were
remember.
involved in putting a conservative person's address out there, and whatever were to happen to them is just it's in the hand of God, right? So but when the
Supposedly,
tables are turned, it's pretty fucked up, isn't it?
right?
Yeah.
It's good for the goose. It's good for the
Yeah.
gander. Let's move forward here. There's quite a bit of these Twitter files here. So 23, the internal Slack messages, Twitter employees spoke of using technicalities to restrict the visibility of tweets and subjects. Here's Yoel Roth, Twitter's then global head of trust and safety, in direct message to a colleague in early 2021. So this is in 2021 that this was a message here. Pulling it up. A lot of times, Psy has used technicality spam enforcements as a way to solve a problem created by safety under enforcing their policies, which again isn't a problem per se, but it keeps us from addressing the root cause of the issue, which is that our safety policies need some attention. I'm going to keep reading here, and then we'll pick at this here shortly. 6 days later, in a direct message with an employee on the Health Misinformation, Privacy, and Identity Research team, Roth requested more research to support expanding non-removal policy interventions like disabling engagements and de-amplification / visibility filtering. I'll pull this up here. All right. One of the biggest, this is a message from Yoel Roth, folks, by the way, the ones who cannot see the screen. It goes, one of the biggest areas I'd love to research support on is non-removal policy interventions like disabling engagements and de-amplification / visibility filtering. The hypothesis underlying much of what we've implemented is if the exposure to, an example, misinformation directly causes harm, we should use remedies that reduce exposure, and limiting the spread of virality of content is a good way to do that by just reducing prevalence overall. We got Jack on board and implementing this for civic integrity in the near term, but we're going to need to make more robust case to get this into our repertoire, policy remediations, especially for other policy domains. So I'd love to research POV on that. So I'm thinking 20, yeah. So we were already within COVID times. So this is getting kind of interesting. We're starting to talk about throttling. Oh, was that me? Or is that you? That was me. My bad, folks, for that sound. So we're talking about throttling stuff regards to COVID at this point. Roth wrote, the hypothesis underlying much of what we've implemented is that if exposure to example misinformation directly causes harm, we just read that. We're going to go to number 26. He added, we got Jack on board with implementing this for civic integrity in the near term, but we're going to need to make more robust. Why is she repeating the stuff she shares?
Right.
Going to 27, folks. Folks, sorry if I'm reading kind of like mumbling at the end, because as I'm reading her next post, they're going with the picture. So I'm just skipping over that. So we're down to number 27 now by Barry Weiss. There's more to come on this story, which was reported by Abigail. Okay. She reposts a couple of reporters here and the team of Free Speech. Keep up with the folding. So it's just a plug for her newspaper here that she's doing. 28, the authors have broad and expanding access to Twitter files. The only condition we agreed to was the material would first be published on Twitter. We're just getting started on our reporting. Documents cannot tell the whole story here. A big thank you to everyone. Okay, so that's nothing important to us. All right, so that's the end of Barry Weiss. So from what I'm seeing from what Barry Weiss has just posted on this, we'll stop here real quick and talk about Barry Weiss's post. Number one, we're seeing throttle, we're seeing censorship, we're seeing shadow ban. Shadow ban actually does exist. Conservatives, Republicans, independents have been screaming that shadow banning has been happening since all this bullshit has started, right? We've been screaming it. But the people on the left, the Democrats, have been calling us conspiracy theorists, saying you're lying. This is not a thing. It does not happen. Folks, I'm here to tell you my tinfoil hat is coming off. And I saw a post, and I'd love to relay that post. I no longer identify as a conspiracy theorist. I'm now identifying as I told you so. With that being said, I mean, because listen, it seems all this stuff that people were calling us conspiracy theorists on, well, in fact, is coming to light and is becoming true. You call us conspiracy theorists on Hunter Biden's laptop. Guess what? There's more information coming out about his laptop, more information that's being exposed on his laptop, that it's true. His laptop does exist. It was not a Russian conclusion, whatever you want to call it. It's legit. And now we're talking about shadow banning, how people were throttled and being blocked on Twitter so you wouldn't see their posts because, hey, maybe that information would have became useful for you. Maybe that information would have changed your mind on possibly getting the jab for COVID. Maybe that information would have changed your mind when it came to voting. It was all throttled down so you didn't see this information. That, to me, is scary as fuck.
Talk about misinformation, right? Like
Yeah.
they're fucking completely misguiding the public.
They are 100%.
Yeah.
All right. So we just read that one. That was Twitter Files Part 2. We're going to go over to 3. I'm going to take this one off. Number 3 came from Matt Taibbi. He's pretty good. I'm kind of liking his. I'm not sure about Barry Weiss yet. I'll figure her out later on when I see more posts from her. But let's move on. Regardless of who the reporter is and how they're releasing this information, all this information should be deemed useful to everybody and should open up your eyes. Even if you're on the liberal side, to be honest with you, your eyes should be opened up right now and seeing what's really going on and what could have maybe changed your mind if something by listening to what's going on here. But yeah, this is the removal of Donald Trump part 1. So this is when we're going to get close and we're going to see that Twitter came into play with the elections in a way. Not saying it had full blown, but yeah, in a way. And give me 1 second, folks. I'm going to take 2 seconds to respond back to my wife, because if I don't, she's going to come into this podcast and be like, "Are you alive?" So I'm just going to.
She can tune in and
she could tune in.
But she's working. She is working.
She is working. All right. So Matt Taibbi, we're going to go right into it here. Folks, like I said, if you're on Wisdom and you want to chime in, feel free to do so. The phone lines to the podcast is shut down tonight as we go through a lot of information here.
Unless one of you wisdomers want to pop in.
Yes, wisdomers, you are allowed to pop in. I will look over, and if I see you in there, I will bring you in. Number 2, the world knows much of the story of what happened between riots at the Capitol on January 6th and the removal of President Donald Trump from Twitter on January 8th. We'll show you what hasn't been revealed, the erosion of standards within the company in months before January 6th, decisions by high-ranking executives to violate their own policies and more against the backdrop of ongoing documented interaction with the federal agencies. Folks, this is when I think the liberals really started, the Democrats in office to be, the power to be, start, squirming in their pants, especially the FBI. And I believe the FBI needs a full-blown investigation done on them.
They need to be shut down. Any 3-letter agency needs to disappear.
Agreed. The first installment covers the period before the election through January 6th. Tomorrow, Schellenberg, which we'll get into Schellenberger's stuff here soon, will detail the chaos inside Twitter of January 7th. On Sunday, Barry Weiss will reveal the secret internal communications from the key date of January 8th. Whatever your opinion on the decision to remove Trump that day, the internal communications at Twitter between January 6th and January 8th have clear historical importance. Even Twitter employees understood in the moment it was a landmark moment in the annals of speech. Let me go ahead and open up this. Looks like a internal message here. Dated as time 16/26/48. So that's time. Is this the first sitting head of state to ever be suspended? That is the message that came through. There wasn't any pretext to that. It goes, as soon as they finished banning Trump, Twitter executives started processing new power. They prepared to ban future presidents and White Houses, perhaps even Joe Biden. That's right, folks. Sleepy Joe Biden. The new administration says one executive will not be suspended by Twitter unless absolutely necessary. So this is, again, what we're looking at here is an internal document. So let's see. I'm just browsing. Here's a link. Evasion. It is clear that another account is being used for the purposes of evading a ban. It is also subject to suspension. For government accounts such as POTUS and White House, we will not suspend those accounts, but will take action to limit their use. However, these accounts will be transitioned over to the new administration in due course and will not be suspended by Twitter unless absolutely necessary to alleviate real-world harm. So that was an internal message as well. Scrolling down, number 7, Matt Taibbi posted, Twitter executives removed Trump in part. Taibbi. Sorry. What did I say?
Taibbi.
Taibbi. Yeah, he's not Taliban. Taibbi. Sorry, Matt. If you, I doubt you'll listen, but if you are listening, man,
he's
sorry,
not. But yeah.
Right. Twitter executives removed Trump in part over what one executive called the context surrounding actions by Trump and supporters over the course of the election, and frankly, last 4+ years. In the end, they looked at a broad picture, but the approach then cut both ways. So we're going to look at this. It's another internal message. A lot of internal messages are releasing here. Hi, Vijay. I'm working with, and that's redacted, on my team to put together a doc to share with you with a POV from research, ours academic with whom we have been working, etc., on DJT's language as coded incitement to further violence. I think I got to slow myself down because I'm starting to stutter. In the meantime, here's our quick take. The decision on whether to pull that particular tweet or use that as a last straw for Trump depends on many factors, including, number 1, the overall context and narrative in which that tweets lives. We currently analyze tweets and consider them at a tweet-by-tweet basis, which does not appropriately take into account the context surrounding. You can use the yelling fire into a crowded theater example. Context matters in the narrative that Trump and his friends have pursued over the course of the election, and frankly, the last 4+ years, must be taken into account when interpreting and analyzing the tweet. 2, the larger question is around our moral and imperative and decision as a company, which our sentiment should not drive based on, number 1, and believe that his tweets does violate our rules when taking the historical context plus current climate into account. So here they're talking about Trump and already talking about possibly banning him out. The bulk of the internal debate leading to Trump's ban took place in those 3 January days. However, the intellectual framework was laid in the months preceding to the Capitol riots. Before January 6th, Twitter was a unique mix of automated rules-based enforcement and more subjective moderation by senior executives. As Barry Weiss reported, the firm had vast array of tools for manipulating visibility, most of all which were thrown at Trump and others pre-January 6th. As the election approached, senior executives, perhaps under pressure from federal agencies with whom they met more as time progressed, increasingly struggled with the rules and began to speak of bias and pretext to what they do and what they likely have done anyway. So we're going to stop right there real quick, and let me just get a drink and look over here. So we got no one talk right now. So after January 6th, excuse me, man, there's a lot of friggin' information that's come out. Internal Slack show Twitter executives getting kick out of the intensified relationships with federal agencies. Here's Trust and Safety head Yoel Roth laminating a lack of generic enough calendar descriptions to concealing his very interesting meeting partners. So this is where it gets kind of interesting as well. We actually got a message over on YouTube From Mike Baker, Twitter, the DNC, and federal agencies colluding to suppress and or highlight information vital to either candidate is election interference. 100% agree. 100% agree with you, Mike. 100% agree with you.
Yep.
Going ahead and looking at this, I'm going to click on this picture so I can enlarge it here. So Yo Roth, just listen to how Yo Roth words this and use your own mind, your own decision, what you want to take of this. It happened. I'm a big believer in calendar transparency, but I reached a certain point where my meetings became very interesting to people and there weren't meeting names generic enough to cover. Anyway, let me know. Very boring business meeting that is definitely not about Trump, smiley face. Pretty much. Definitely not meeting with the FBI, I swear. Laughing my ass off. So they're really joking about this at this point, right? So as they're going through this, they're finding this extremely funny that they're dealing with the FBI, that they're about ready to ban Trump. Like they're getting a kick out of, like their jollies are getting off, their happy socks are prepared, they're ready to go dive into their room and just get their rocks off over this. It's absolutely sickening. Absolutely fucking sickening. All right, moving forward. These initial reports are based on searches for docs linked to prominent executives whose names are already public. They included Roth, former trust and policy chief Vijaya Gadde, and recently Plank-Walk deputy general counsel and former top FBI lawyer Jim Baker, who, by the way, was just recently fired by Elon Musk. We talked about that last Monday. One particular Slack channel offers a unique window into the evolving thinking of top officials in late 2020 and early 2021. On October 8, 2020, executives opened a channel called US 2020_XFN_enforcement through January 6th. This would be home for discussions about election-related removals, especially ones that involved high-profile accounts, often called VITs, for very important tweeters. So, folks, this is what we're going to talk about. Matter of fact, with even Mike Baker was just talking about election interference. Let's go ahead and open this up. So they had their own special thread and stuff for this. The email or message replies, "Hey, everyone. Starting tomorrow, October 9th until November 15th, this channel will be used for the following reasons related to the U.S. 2020 elections. Trends identified that require scaled investigations, high-profile accounts escalations that potentially require P2 soft interventions, scalable solutions required, edge cases for XFN consultation, highlight tech issues, bugs, tools, outages, JIRA tickets. This is an enforcement channel between TNAMP, blah, 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 and TWS to help speed up our response related to election issues over the coming few weeks. GET will start providing a handover starting APAC shift tomorrow, Friday. This, folks, please bear with us as they're using abbreviations within the Twitter agency or Twitter company. Using the following template: handover, next shift, EMA, a bunch of abbreviations. Open escalation, none notes from the shift. Ask, can you please make sure everyone on your team is within the channel? The teams that we included are as follows: site integrity, safety policy, product trust, safety operations, media ops, global escalation team. And if you have any further questions or concerns, please let me know. All right. So interesting, right? Have you read all this yet, or are you learning some new stuff too as I'm going through?
No, I'm going through this right now with you.
Gotcha.
I've been busy, dude. Yeah.
I hear you. All right, let's keep rocking. There was at least some tension between safety operations, a larger department whose staffers used a more rules-based process for addressing issues like porn, scams, and threats, and a smaller, more powerful cadre of senior policy executives like Roth and Gadde, or Gad.
That's crazy.
Right? The latter group were a high-speed Supreme Court of moderation, issuing content rulings on the fly, often in minutes and based on guesses, gut calls, even Google searches, even in cases involving the president. Google cases? Who trusts Google these days? I use DuckDuckGo. Just DuckDuckGo. Just saying.
So I hear that.
Right, let's go ahead and open up this image here. Pull it up on the screen. So once again, folks, this is internal messages. If you're listening on Wisdom or listening on Apple and Spotify, we're live right now on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And we're pulling up the images as we're discussing this. The internal message says, "Hi, everyone. Received this escalation just now." It's a tweet from Donald Trump. Says, "Breaking news, 50,000 Ohio voters getting wrong absentee ballots out of control, a rigged election. Down there, it goes, a rigged election would be enough to be in violation, right? They're questioning. Friday, October 9th, 2020, at a certain time by Yul Roth, if the claim of fact were inaccurate, yes.
10 seconds later. It took him 10
Right.
seconds to answer
Took him
that.
10 seconds, but it looks like that's true. So here they are trying to find a way.
Yeah,
right?
they're
like,
digging.
They're absolutely digging. Like their shovels are out and they're trying to dig as deep as they can right now. They're watching Trump at this point as tight as they can. Going down to 17 right here. During this time, executives were also clearly liaisoning the federal enforcement and intelligence agencies about moderation of election-related content. Well, we're still at the start of reviewing the Twitter files. We're finding out more about these interactions every day. So it seems like they've had quite a bit of interactions with the FBI.
Man, fucking
Policy
feds.
director, right? Policy director Nick Pickles is asked if they should say Twitter detects misinfo through ML human review in partnership with outside experts. The employees ask, "I know that's been a slippery process. Not sure if you want our public explanation to hang on that." So here they are questioning if they should start labeling if they're getting outside help. I'm just going to show it, folks, because what I just said read on there as well, but I want to show everybody the images of the internal messages here. And then Nick Pickles says, can we just say partnership? An example, not sure we describe the FBI/DHS, folks, DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, as experts or some NGOs that aren't academic. So isn't that interesting? So not only is the FBI involved in this whole Twitter scheme of things, we also got Department of Homeland Security.
So who's running the FBI? Right? Because like every 4 years, 8 years, we get a new president, but the people that are in the FBI they're not rotating out. People in the CIA, they're not rotating out. People in the fucking military, high rank positions, they're not rotating out. Who the fuck is really in charge of this ship?
Right?
Because it sure as fuck is not currently Biden. And it's just really disappointing that like the federal agencies are the ones that are killing people and setting up all this wild shit.
Right. And you're supposed to trust them, right? You're supposed to trust the feds.
Yeah, but they're definitely against the fucking American people. And that's terrifying. The government of America is against the American people. That's terrifying.
And they
if
label
all of this
you
is true, like that's
right?
fucking terrifying.
And if you talk against them, you're labeled a domestic terrorist at this point.
That's absolutely bananas, man.
Like the FBI was investigating parents who were going to school boards to speak up for their children who were against mask mandates, who were against school, like the lockdowns for kids to be at home and just being remotely learned. Like parents who were speaking against us were labeled domestic terrorists and had to be and were being investigated by the FBI and Department of Homeland Security because they were being labeled as domestic terrorists. Like this is how crazy our world has gone. The government has turned on the American people unless you bow down to the government and you think that they're the greatest thing in the world.
How did we get here is the question. You know what I mean? Like
it's the honest question, man. How did we get here?
It like in our lifetime, like that's very fast. That's very fast.
It is.
Like I mean, we've seen the shift. Like we knew what it was like before this. And I'm sure people who are 60
that's me. Sorry about
probably know what it was like before the 80s.
Right.
Right? Or like during the 80s.
Dude, I remember, okay, so not on the Twitter files real quick. We're gonna curve real quick just for 1 second because you're talking about watching the change, right?
Yeah.
I remember going to high school. Mind you, school shootings are on the rise, right? School shootings have been up a little bit. I remember going to high school and having kids with shotguns in the back of the pickup trucks hanging. No one blinked an eye. School shootings were not even thought of. I mean, we did have one. I can vaguely remember it, and I should remember because it was a big one. It was the Columbine. The Columbine shooting, I think, was within our high school times when you and I were in high school.
Sounds about right.
Right. But otherwise, if you think about it, look at how times have changed, right? Where did we go wrong as a society? Where have we gone wrong in America? Why all of a sudden are all this
It's not all
weird
of a
shit coming
sudden. It
out?
took 20 years,
It
but
did.
it was slowly and incrementally. You know what I mean? One thing here, one thing there. It's like broken homes. Like, how many separated families are there? How many people are there now that are atheist compared to 20 years ago?
Right.
The amount of drug use, the internet, how much free porn there is that's available, the shitty food. Like, there are so many reasons why we're in this position, and none of them happened overnight. It was all very we offshored all of our manufacturing so we could make better profits, which is great, but we also like fueled one of the biggest fucking giants on the planet, which is China, and that's now they were never our partner. You know what I mean? They were just basically taking our money to like kill us, to attack. It's crazy. It took 20 plus years to get here. It wasn't overnight, man.
Right.
And we basically like walked into it. We set the trap for ourselves, and we just jumped into the trap. We dug a hole with spikes in the bottom, and we're jumping into that pit right now as a nation. It's weird.
I think we're currently being poked by the spikes.
It's whatever it is, it's not comfortable, man. I don't like it.
Definitely.
You know?
I don't like it at all. Well, let's continue on, man. We still got friggin' 2 more sectors to go here in these Twitter files. So the one number 20 right now on number Twitter files part 3. This posted about Hunter Biden's laptop situation shows the Roth not only met weekly with the FBI and DHS, but with the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. Hey, look at that. What were we talking about? Let's pull this up real quick. Pulling up the image of the internal messages.
And the DNI, that's what I didn't even know about.
Bot application, bunch of shit ton of numbers. Yoler has checked in. Here's what they said. What's new for you since our last check-in? Hacked materials exploded. We blocked the NYPD story. Then we unblocked it, but said the opposite. Then said we unblocked it. And now we're in a messy situation where our policy is in shambles. Comms is angry. Reporters think we're idiots. And we're refactoring an exceedingly complex policy 18 days out from the election. In short, fuck my life. Weekly sync with the FBI, DHS, DNI, re-election security. The meeting happened about 15 minutes after the affirmation, hacked materials implosion. The government declined to share anything useful when asked. Monthly meetings with FBI, FITF briefed on several ongoing investigations. So this is when Twitter got called out after the Biden's laptop story got blocked. Remember the New York Post when everybody went crazy? Facebook was blocking it, Twitter.
Yep.
So Ross report to FBI, DHS, DNI is almost, dear God, Gary, help me out with that word.
Which one?
The
I
FAR.
can't see it. Click on
FAR. Click on.
It's
Sorry, folks.
Farcical.
All right, so you have a heart issue too.
Farcical.
All right, folks.
It's farcical, so it's like fake. Farcical and
Gotcha.
self-flagellating.
Gotcha. And it's self-flagellating. Oh yeah, could have just went on with that, huh? We blocked the NYPD story, then unblocked. So this is the same thing. They double posted it. All right. Hate when they do that. All right, moving on. Number 23. Some of Ross' later slacks indicates his weekly confabs with federal law enforcement involve separate meetings. Here he ghosts the FBI and DHS respectively to go first to an Aspen Institute thing, then take a call with Apple. Oh, wait a minute. Apple. This is the first hearing about Apple. Hold on. What do we got going on here? Yoel Roth, 8:03 p.m. I'm guessing. No, 8:03 a.m. Hi there. I have to miss the FBI and DHS meetings today. Unfortunately, I saw you're on the invites for both as our site policy. Can you give me a quick readout if there's anything interesting that comes up? Patrick Collins says, sure thing. I hope that everything's okay. Yoel responds, yeah, I just have conflicts at both times. An Aspen Institute thing this morning on vaccines that I have to present at, and then a call with Apple to avoid us getting kicked out of the App Store during the DHS one. Those seem very important, Patrick Collins says. Yoel Ross says, indeed. So, interesting. Wonder why Apple is going to remove. I don't recall anything in regards to Apple removing Twitter.
Neither do I. Yeah.
All right, down to number 24 here. The FBI sends reports about a pair of tweets, the second of which involves former Tippecanoe County, Indiana councilor and Republican named John Bashman, claiming between 2% and 25% of ballots by mail are being rejected for errors. Folks, this one I'm not going to expand because I can read it all here. We just got a report from the FBI concerning 2 tweets, and it's got a number here related to the shredding of mail ballots. This is proven to be false via and they give out a link to PolitiFact. We have a moment ready. Do we have a moment ready for this one? And then it says, I believe was deemed no vial on numerous occasions. Folks, I don't even know if I can trust that that's been deemed false at this point when I'm going through this, because I don't know. Was election fraud? Was there election fraud? Was there shredding of documents? Was there? I mean,
right. Well, we don't know about
trust them.
Right. We don't know that about the shredding of documents, but we know for sure that there's definitely some misguided behaviors with regards to the election, which
definitely
could be labeled as fraud.
Exactly. The FBI's second report concerned this tweet by John Bashman. John Bashman posted editorial, the Democrats are in complete panic as their massive push for vote by mail is backfiring on them. 2 things are unfolding. An unexpected number of registered Republicans are returning ballots. Between 2% and 25% of ballots by mail are being rejected for errors. So there are
how much do you want to bet that the 25% of the ballots that were being rejected for errors were Republican ballots?
100%.
Right.
I wouldn't even go under 100. Matt then posted the FBI flag tweet, then got circulated in the enforcement Slack. Twitter cited PolitiFact to say the first story was proven to be false, then noted the second was already deemed a no vial on numerous occasions. All right, so that's the same post right there. So we're just going to keep scrolling. The group then decides to apply a learn how voting is safe and secure label because one commenter said it's totally normal to have a 2% error rate. Roth then gives the final go ahead to process initiated by the FBI. So here's the FBI saying, hey, Twitter, this is fake. Just believe us because we're the FBI. We're telling you it's fake. We need you to remove this. Twitter's like, oh, okay, let's do it. Monday, October 19, 2020, by Roll Yacht. I think we can use the mail-in voting label for this one as is. That's just an internal file there. Let's keep moving down. Examining the entire election enforcement Slack, we didn't see one reference to moderation requests from the Trump campaign, the Trump White House, or Republicans generally. We looked. They may exist. We were told they do. However, they were absent here. So, folks, we're just now ending part 3 of the Twitter files. This is where Matt ended it. And as you can see, as of right now, from everything that we're going through, there's been nothing from the Trump administration as that they can see. Does it exist? Maybe. But as of now, there's no information from the Trump administration that they had any pull with Twitter, asking Twitter for favors, telling Twitter, hey, you need to remove this from misinformation. Nothing there. So far, all the information that they're getting is from the Biden administration, from the FBI, from the DNC, from Homeland Security. This is the type of shit that should scare you. This is the type of shit that should make you think twice about your government agencies. This is the thing that should make you think twice about the Biden administration. I digest and move on.
So do we...
Go ahead.
We don't have any say in leadership within these agencies, right? Like FBI, see, like most, we shouldn't even know we should know they exist, right?
Right.
Like, I don't like we
don't have no say, but there's no voting for your head of FBI.
Right. There's none like whatever's going on there has nothing to do with the people.
Right. This is unfortunately what's going to come down to is once January hits and the Republicans get into the House, they have to open up an investigation on the FBI. The FBI has to take accountability for this. The DNC has to take accountability. The Homeland Security has to take accountability. And the House needs to go after them and open. They have to.
How? It seems like they are not taking accountability. They just fucking narked on. They just, you know what I mean? Like
they're trying to silence. Right. They're silencing information. They're silencing the Hunter Biden laptop. They have to be, though. They have to.
Literally nothing is going to happen because of this. What's going to happen? Our government's going to close the FBI.
We
What's
can't
going to
close it.
happen?
We
What's going
have
to
to
happen?
remove the leadership and put in new leadership.
Okay.
There
Who's to
have been
say that
whistleblowers, right?
Like, who's to say that the leadership that doesn't come in doesn't get brainwashed by the other lower ranking 80% of the fucking goons that are in there who were brainwashed by the other 20% that have just been replaced?
Right. There is no say. Like,
I
we
don't know,
never
man.
know,
It
right?
just seems like it's like, how do you fix a completely corrupt governmental system? How do you fix that? You can't just vote that shit out.
You can't. And there's no reset button. It's one of those, it's, I don't know. It's a tricky question you got there. And it's a question that should be asked, right? This is
Yeah.
a question that should be asked as an American citizen to you Congress people. And something like this should open the eyes up to everybody, make everybody question what you were just questioning. How do we fix this? How do we fix the FBI? How do we fix Homeland Security? How do we fix DNC? Like, that's the first time, once again, like you were saying, that is the first time I've ever heard of DNC. I never knew about DNC.
So
And then
how
I
do we-
started reading.
Yeah. So what do we do as a people?
Exactly.
Like, there's way more of us than them, but why are they so in charge?
Right. Let's move on.
Because I didn't vote them in. Fucks.
Nope. Let's move on to part 4. So this is from a new person, Michael Schallenberger. What's it? Yes, 1. All right, Michael Schallenberger here.
I want one. What are we getting?
Oh, my daughter. So, folks who are watching, please note, while I record this podcast, my studio is legitimately in my dining room. Like, if you saw the picture of my studio in my corner, I'm surprised my wife has not kicked me out of where I'm at for my studio. But my studio is in my dining room / kitchen area where I've got to set up because all my rooms are full with children. So my daughter's just asked for one of those chocolate truffles that my dad mailed to me. That's going to make me fat.
Fatty.
They taste really good though. Oh my god, it melts in your mouth. It's delicious. Back to the freaking Twitter files. Gary,
right.
I hate you.
Let's go.
Okay, Twitter files part 4. The removal of Donald Trump January 7th. As the pressure builds, Twitter executives build the case for a permanent ban. All right, folks, here we go. Moving on. He did this completely different. Oh, God help me. Okay. I'm going to get lost in this one, so please bear with me. Gary, you see what I'm seeing as we're looking.
No, you're good. You're all right.
Okay. On January 7th, senior Twitter executives create justifications to ban Trump, seek to change policy to Trump's alone, distinct from other political leaders, express no concern for the free speech and democracy implications of the ban. This is Twitter Files is reported with Elwood House. For those catching up, please see. Okay, so he's going... Here in part 3, okay, hold on. For years, Twitter has restricted calls to ban Trump, blocking a world leader from Twitter. It wrote in 2018 would hide important info and hampered necessary discussions around the words and actions. So they actually show this right here. Let me pull this up. Can I read more? Okay, backing up. Blocking a world leader from Twitter or removing their controversial tweets would hide important information people should be able to see and debate. It would also not silence that leader, but it would certainly hamper necessary discussion around their words and action. Let's before I move further on this, I want to mention something. There was a point in Twitter where they were doing this. They banned Trump, right? They banned Trump because Trump supposedly incited January 6th, right? But yet they allowed a terrorist from another country to air beheadings of people. And they allowed those videos. Yeah, actual beheadings.
They cut off the heads of human beings on Twitter. And those videos were okay.
Those videos were okay. Never got removed. How? But and they labeled it as the culture. That is not a culture. That is murder. That is absolute murder, and they allowed it.
Yeah.
Let's move on. But after the events of January 6th, the internal and external pressure on Twitter CEO Jack Rose, former First Lady Michelle Obama, tech journalist Kara Wisher, ADL High Tech VC, Chris Sacca, and many others publicly called on Twitter to permanently ban Trump. I'm not going to go ahead and maybe I will. Screw it. All right, opening up these images. Give me 1 second, folks. I wasn't going to, but we're going to go ahead and pull them up. All right, so Chris Saka says, you've got blood on your hands, Jack and Zuck. For 4 years, you've rationalized this terror inciting violent treason is not a free speech exercise. If you work at those companies, it's on you to shut it down. That's what Chris Saka posted. Moving forward, now is the time for Silicon Valley companies to stop enabling this monstrous behavior and go even further than they have already by permanently banning this man from their platforms and putting in place policies to prevent their technologies from being used by the nation's leaders to fuel insurrection. It's time for social media platforms to permanently ban Trump. Jonathan Greenblatt, to bare minimum tweets after the Capitol has been stormed by extremists is too little, too late. Jack, it's overdue to suspend real Donald Trump until his account stops promoting disinformation and inciting violence. Okay, wait a minute. Here's the funny part, folks. You ready for Trump's last tweet on January 6th? I'm asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. No violence! ! Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men and women in blue. Thank you. Tweet before that one. Please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful. Down below that one. Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states a chance to certify a corrected set of facts, not the fraudulent or inaccurate ones which they were asked to previously certify. USA demands the truth. I'm sorry, folks. I'm looking at those last three tweets. Did I see anything that said, hey, storm the Capitol, go in there, cause chaos, take chairs, pick up things?
A lot of violence, a lot of violent words in there.
They're extremely violent. I'm so freaking offended. Like, come on, people, wake the fuck up. And yes, I'm going to use my language because there's nothing that incites violence over there. Nothing, not once.
I mean, he said, please support our Capitol Police.
Right.
That's pretty violent.
Do you know who died during the Capitol? There was an officer who died via a heart attack. Natural causes. Passed away.
Someone got shot too.
Yes, a veteran. A woman veteran who was actually a civilian who went in there. She was one that went inside the Capitol. She was shot by Capitol Police. Unarmed. She was unarmed. They feared for their lives, supposedly, and they shot her. I still say there needs to be an investigation done. She did not break into our house. She was led into our house. Folks, I advise everybody to go back and watch the videos. Do I agree with what happened? No.
So the problem is there's multiple entrances and there's parts where people were forcing their way in, and then there's parts where the police were letting people in. So it's like both things happened. You know what I mean? But I don't remember hearing Donald Trump tell people to go and be violent.
No.
I feel like I remember him saying to not be. Even outside of like the tweets, you know?
Exactly. Oh, yeah. I was watching the speech. I actually know somebody. I know somebody who's on the ground. It's actually my niece's father who was on the ground. He was where Donald Trump was having a speech. He wasn't anywhere near the Capitol. And he said there was no words from Trump regards to causing violence or storm the Capitol. There's no words like that whatsoever.
I don't remember hearing any. Yeah.
No. So
I don't know.
Let's move forward. Dorsey was on vacation in French Polynesia that week of January 4th through 8th, 2021. He phoned into meetings, but also delegated much of the handling of the situation to senior executives. Yo. These names, man, people. Twitter's global head of trust and safety, Vijaya, head of legal policy trust. Sorry, folks, please don't get me banned for talking about people's names. As context, it's important to understand that Twitter and staff senior executives were overwhelmingly progressive. In 2018 to 2020, 2022, 96%, 98%, and 99% of Twitter staff's political donations went to the Democrats. We were talking about that on Monday. Remember that?
And while while your political affiliation shouldn't be considered or even matter at work, but goddamn, I mean, that's...
At this point, it kind of does matter because we're watching
weird,
what Twitter says.
You know, it just seems very cult-like.
It does.
It's just interesting.
In 2017, Roth tweeted that there were actual Nazis in the White House. In April 2022, Roth told colleagues that his global is to drive change in the world, which is why he decided not to become an academic. I'm going to go to these these messages here. Excuse me, folks. Excuse me. Yoel Roth. Yes, that person in the pig hat is clearly a bigger threat to your brand of feminism than actual Nazis in the White House. I don't know who he's saying that post to. Let me open up this one here. Yeah, academia is far the most abusive work and environment I've ever been in. The entire system is exploitive in a ton of ways and also not necessarily productive if your goal is to drive change in the world, which was the main reason why I left.
Yeah, the college system is a hardcore left-wing indoctrination system. Hard fucking core.
That it is. The college system is colleges need to be rethought about too.
They are just incredibly and overwhelmingly taken over by left-wing Marxist ideologies. It's bananas.
When you look at when the colleges are now doing a form of racism without even knowing it, maybe they do know it. When they now have got segregation happening in colleges,
dude,
and
get
we've
rid
seen
of the
it.
Fucking safe spaces. Get rid of all the fucking trigger warnings. Man the fuck up.
Well, you've seen the video, right? There's a few videos out there. There's now segregation in certain colleges where I'm going to say is folks,
they brought segregation back.
They brought segregation back. There are spots, if you are colored, that you can go into, and if you are white, you're not allowed to go into it. There's videos on TikTok and YouTube and so forth where it shows, matter of fact, there's a white individual who's sitting there using his laptop. Matter of fact, I believe he even has a Blue Lives Matter sticker on his laptop. And a colored lady walked up to him and told him he needs to move. She got mad at him because he was in her space. This was a space to be secluded just for the colored people alone to be in. We shouldn't have that. If we don't want racism, I mean, racism regardless is going to exist. No matter how many years we go down the road, right? Racism is always going to exist. It is. But if you want to try to fight racism, all parties have to be on the plate. You cannot have segregation. You can't have black people saying, listen, we want our own spot where we can go. But whites are not allowed. Because what you're doing is causing racism again, but now you're turning it around on the whites. So now you got black only spots, but guess what? You're kind of doing it to yourself too. We can't have this. We need to stop dividing everybody by freaking color, and people need to stop thinking about color. Because in all reality, I don't give a fuck what someone's color is. I care what their character is. And if we can look beyond that, but I mean, I'm going to keep moving forward. I know I fell off track again. But it's seriously the segregation.
It's regressive. Yes. It's not progressive. We're so progressive that we're regressive is the problem. That's what's happening right now.
I mean, don't get me started on how we trade an arms dealer. That's another episode, folks. How we traded an arms dealer for one American.
Fucking dumb. I don't even want to get into it.
He actually just had an interview too, dude. Yeah, I'm gonna find that interview when we do our next podcast. We're gonna be talking about that interview. He just did an interview.
Human being.
He wants to kill Americans, and we traded him for a woman who hates America.
Yeah, he can start with her.
Let's move forward. January 7th, Jack emails employees saying Twitter needs to remain consistent in its policies, including the right of users to return to Twitter after a temporary suspension. After Roth reassures an employee that people who care about this aren't happy with where we are. I'm going to open up this email here. Excuse me, folks. Sounds like I might be getting a cold. Roth, Jack's emails have been fine, but ultimately I think people want to hear from Vijaya or Dell or someone closer to the specifics of this who can reassure them that people who care about this are thinking deeply about these problems and aren't happy with where we are. A few engineers have reached out to me directly about it, and I'm chatting with them, but it's so clear that they just want to know what someone is doing something about this, and it's not that we're ignoring the issue here. Then there's redacted information here. It looks like probably just the name is redacted. I think there's also an opportunity to help people understand that while it seems obvious and simple that we should permaban his personal account, we can't afford to take that immediate action without first playing the movie out. and anticipating all the other things that can happen, and then figure out the plans for those possible scenarios. An example, if we suspend the personal account and he posts the same thing on the official government account, do we suspend that too? People can be forgiven for not thinking beyond the thing that's immediately in front of them. But Jack, Vijay, Dell, you don't have the luxury of just pulling the trigger without thinking things through. We tell them repeatedly that people are on it and people are working on it, and they're scratching their heads wondering how hard can it be to decide if this single account is in violation. So here's like they're contemplating, should we ban Trump? Like they're contemplating here. On January 7th, Jack emails employees saying Twitter needs to remain consistent in its policies, including the right of users to return to Twitter after a temporary suspension. After Roth reassures an employee that people who care about this aren't happy with. Okay, did I just read that?
Just read that.
I did. Sorry about that, folks. Guess. All right, so here we go. Around 11:30 a.m. PT Pacific time, Roth DMs his colleagues with news that he is excited to share. Guess what? He writes. Jack just approved repeat offender for civic integrity. The new approach would create a system where 5 violation strikes would result in a permanent suspension. I'm going to go ahead and open that up here. So that's just it right there, folks. I'm just going to show you. There's a little bit bottom here. It says directional approach would be something like labels which are severe enough to result in disabled engagements, occur strike, label only strike 2, label only strike 3. Okay, so that's just talking about the labels of the strikes. Moving on. Progress exclaims a member of Roth's trust and safety team. The exchange between Roth and his colleagues made clear that they had been pushing Jack for greater restrictions on the speech Twitter allows around elections. The colleague wants to know if the decision means Trump can finally be banned. The person asked, does the incitement to violence aspect change it? The calculus. Ross says it doesn't. Trump continues to just have his 1 strike remaining. Can I ask a question? Does the incitement to violence aspect to change the calculus? We just read the tweet of Trump. There was no inciting of violence. Now I want to rewind a little bit. Let's go back to the BLM protest. There was multiple times that we've seen violence incited, people inciting violence during the BLM protest when people said that they were allowed to do it to make their voices heard. They were allowed to burn down buildings to make their voices heard. They're allowed to beat up people in the streets to make their voices heard. How is that okay? How are those posts allowed to be remaining up? Because it's in the name of BLM. Trump tells people to be peaceful and respect law and order. I'm so fucking confused right now, dude. Like,
ideology goes far beyond logic and objective truth. And that's what's happening right now. This is an ideological movement, and it's going above and beyond what people believe. And like as you were just sitting there thinking about that, I'm thinking about the FBI's involvement in all of this. And it got me thinking, like, Proud Boys, Antifa, BLM, that's all federal bullshit. I'd be willing to believe, or at least to entertain the idea that all of these right-wing and left-wing fucking groups of people who are being triggered and dragged into, and this goes to Q, this goes to everything, all of the fucking shit. It's all psyop. I think it's all the feds trolling the shit out of everybody on both sides.
Think it's possible CIA involvement on American soil when they're not supposed to be?
100%. I feel like I don't know, man. I just feel like there's, I don't know. It's beyond the people. It's beyond elections. We don't have a government. I think it's like if the feds are controlling all of this, like the FBI,
Right.
they're controlling the elections, which means they're the ones who will dictate the winner.
I see where you're going with this. I would be willing to entertain that. If anybody else would like to jump in, we're going to be, after we're done with this Tonight Show, we are going to take a 2-week sabbatus here as Gary takes travels. But when we come back, I would love to have a show. If anybody wants to entertain this idea, feel free to reach out to me on air at themarkgshow.com. I would love to dig into this, see what other people's thoughts are on this. Maybe I'll start a poll on Twitter and see what other people think.
Just seems a little too weird, right?
I 100% agree with you. And could it be? Could the FBI have more pull than we think? Could the CIA be involved with BLM, Proud Boys, and so forth?
I think they
Very well
coordinate
could
it.
be.
I think they're coordinating. They have they have chapters, right? There's like multiple chapters in each area, and then
There
you
is.
have like central leadership that's literally controlling them both. How did those pallets of rocks get delivered? Right? Like how did all of this when they had those like no police zones or no whatever zones they were called, the Chad zones, whatever, I can't
Right.
remember what they're called. How the
Yeah, I remember what you're talking
like
about.
regulars people
Excuse me.
can regular people just find contractors with like large cats to like move in like those big ass the roadblocks, like that's all done with like big machinery and like that requires getting permits by the city to like even move those things around. Like
Right.
that just seems like a lot of really well-timed coordination between who the Antifa is seeing Proud Boys did it, Proud Boys are seeing BLM did it, but like what if neither one of them did it and it was just ammo set up by the powers to be for both of those motherfuckers to go out there and just cause problems?
Agree. No.
Like
100% agree, and I'd be willing to
not
entertain that.
people doing. I mean, it's not
And they definitely have chapters. Remember, I was telling you, I tried to get
for sure. Yeah, but see,
was
you're
it Proud
fucking-
Boys were
you're-
trying to recruit me.
You're a goober, dude. Like they're just like and it's to no fault of your own. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
the fact that you're patriotic and you give a shit, and they're preying on that. Very
Yeah,
clever.
and that would also make me the fall. So if I was to entertain some of the
100%.
situation, this is so the
Exactly.
agent or the undercover does not have to take the fall and show
Right.
get behind the bars. So you recruit true
Right.
patriots who are able to fall for it, say, yeah, let me join in, and they join in. Okay, we're gonna have you do this. So you go off and commit that crime. Boom, now you're taking the fall.
All of
Yeah,
a
I'd be
sudden you're the
willing to-
getaway driver and they fucking so
Shit. Did we just
they
put on
own
our
the
tin-
bank. You know what I mean? They hired
Right.
you to rob the bank, but they own the bank and they hired you to rob it. And they called the police because they hired you to rob themselves. So it's like they set you up the whole way around. And that's like what it seems like's going on in the government on it's the same people controlling both sides like a puppet, right? Like that's why they have that like puppeteer
Right.
thing. I feel like that shit more so now than ever might actually be what the fuck's going on. Presidents
put
are
on our
in
tinfoil
every
hat?
4 to 8 years, man. Who's really in charge?
And Congress is in for whenever they friggin' croak or eventually get voted out.
Like when you start to be a president and you're sworn in and you go to that, you disappear for 10 days or 2 weeks or whatever it is to like basically be brought up to speed like, hey, dipshit, you're PR. You're not really in charge of anything. You're going to sign these bills because we're telling you to. And this is how shit really goes. And if you go against this, your wife and children are dead. And that's that. And then they go, well, fuck. I guess that's what we're doing, right? And that's what they do.
Right.
I'm convinced, seriously, after hearing this shit, it seems more true that that's the case than ever before.
Right. Agreed. I think we just put on our tinfoil hats again.
Dude, I apparently am swimming in a pool of tinfoil right now because it just seems too weird. Yeah, right.
All right. So Bogues posted it for those who are listening. We get comments on
That's a dope
on
photo, by the way.
Facebook, right? That is a nice photo.
Is that the
Good old-
Dukes?
That is the Dukes.
Dude.
So Bogues just posted on YouTube saying same old Same old tired dead story. Fuck all gangs calling themselves government.
Yeah, it's bananas, man. Things are just really like we're peeking behind the curtain,
We
like
are.
the Wizard of Oz. This is like the peek behind the curtain.
And it's amazing how the Twitter files and a Twitter file should do this to people, right? This should do this. This should ultimately do this to the people on the left, not maybe the very diehard ones, but some of the legitimate people on the left that actually may still have brains left. This should open up their minds to start thinking like this, like, wow, wait a minute. And this should open up their eyes. Let's go further into this because, dude, we still got one more after this, one more Twitter file. So let's keep pushing. Ross colleagues' query about incitement to violence heavily foreshadowed what will happen the following day. On January 8th, Twitter announces a permanent ban on Trump due to the risk of further incitement of violence. Folks, we've already read the tweets. There was no incitement of violence, and I'm willing to pull up Trump's account since it's been reinstated to read those tweets on another episode. But I just wanted to pull up this picture. I'm not going to repeat it, but I'm just pulling up
"Quote
a picture
unquote"
here.
risk of further incitement of violence.
Yep.
Further incitement.
Further
Because
incitement.
I don't know where the original incitement of violence.
Did you know calling for peace is an incitement of violence?
Right.
Gary?
No violence, because he said the word violence. That means
Right.
violence because
So on January, Twitter says its ban is based on specifically how Trump's tweets are being received and interpreted. But in 2019, Twitter said it did not attempt to determine all potential interpretations of the content or its
how
intent.
do you interpret someone else's tweet for the people? Well, we can't say this. It's got to be inciting violence because some liberal, pathetically weak dipshit inside Twitter gets scared because he
Right.
said, "Don't be violent,
right?
and fight for your freedom." And they're like, "No, it's violence."
That's it. All right, here we go.
All right.
Michael's still going on. The only serious concern we found expressed within Twitter over the implications for free speech and democracy of banning Trump came from a junior person in the organization. It was tucked away in lower level Slack channel known as Site Integrity Auto. So we're going to pull up this image here. And it says, this might be an unpopular opinion, but one-off ad hoc decision like this that don't appear rooted in policy are, in my opinion, a slippery slope and reflect an alternatively equally dictatorial problem. This now appears to be a fiat by an online platform CEO with a global presence that can gatekeep speech for the entire world, which seems unsuitable.
Unsustainable.
Unsustainable, my bad.
And that person is 100% correct.
Right?
Probably one of the ones still working at Twitter.
It is. And it's probably why Jack Dorsey and all the other big wigs up there kept him down the basement. You always keep your ones that cannot ride with you. You keep them down low, keep them in the basement and locked up.
Of course.
But they got a little stuff where you got to keep them because they're doing their good work, but they just don't keep the right opinions with you.
Right.
All right, let's see. Moving on. Twitter employees use the term one-off frequently in their Slack discussions. It's frequently used, reveals significant employee discretion over when and whether to apply warning labels on tweets and strikes on users. Here are typical examples. Pulling up those examples now. So the first one says, could have bounced with a strike. I don't see any scenario where we would decide not to bounce here. Just want to check if there are any concerns. Otherwise, I can bounce under RTP and close this one before I go. FYI, account for review at USA session. We are trying to understand the one-off decision here. A few. Going to the next. Friday, November 6, 2020, 8:38. By redacted, there's always abuse one-off. Friday, November 6, 2020, 8:38. By redacted, bounce. One off is the option. So basically all we're seeing is here communications between the people in legal and so forth.
Trying to determine semantics.
Yeah. Recall for Twitter Files 2 by Barry Weiss that according to Twitter staff, we control visibility quite a bit and we control the amplification of your content quite a bit. And normal people do not know how much we do. So he's just re-quoting that again. Wow, Michael's got quite a bit here. Twitter employees recognize the difference between their own politics and Twitter's terms of service, but they also engage in complex interpretations of content in order to stamp out prohibited tweets as a series of exchanges over Stop the Steal hashtag reveal. Oh, remember that? Let's go into this, folks.
Complex interpretations. That's an interesting phrase.
Okay. So we got a redacted message that went to Yul Roth. Hey, hope you're doing okay and we're able to get some sleep. Can we or have we already discussed blocking the Stop the Steal hashtag? It's furthering fake news in a dangerous way from what I can tell. Yul Roth responds, hey there. We're proactively resurfacing that content for review under civic integrity, and it should be blocked from the type head and trends. If you're seeing it in either of the latter two, let me know ASAP and PT can fix it. Redacted says, I just saw the hashtag and then did a search on it, and all the content was appalling, so I don't think it's showing up elsewhere. Thank you for all that you're doing. Roll Ross says, I'll flag to the election squad. The election squad? What? Redacted responds, remember that what I find appalling and what is a TOS value are not an exact overlap.
Heh.
Heh?
He goes, no, he goes, heh.
Oh, he goes, heh.
Which means it doesn't matter.
Right?
Yeah. It just means like if you don't like it, we'll fucking make it disappear. That's what that means.
So moving forward with Michael's report here, Roth immediately DMs a colleague to ask what they that they add Stop the Steal and QAnon conspiracy term Kraken to blacklist of terms to be de-amplified. Roth's colleague subjects to blacklisting Stop the Steal risk, de-amplifying a counter speech that validates the election. Yeah, I'm definitely getting a cold. My nose is clogging. Sorry, folks. My voice is changing up a little bit. All right, Ross says, no, there's a lot going on. An objection. He sent this to Redacted, by the way. No, there's a lot going on. Any objections to adding Stop the Steal and Kraken to the CHAQ terms list? If there aren't any, there already. Yo Ross responds, the daylight separating Q and the Stop the Steal stuff now is effectively zero. Kraken for sure if it's not already there. I'm too worried about the risk of de-amplifying counter speech with Stop the Steal. Is there more to this? Let me click on the image. Oh, he just responded back with ack. Like he must be disgusted that they can't keep going further. Stand by. Why do I got? Oh, wow. Okay. Closing that one down, I kind of move forward. All right. Indeed notes Ross' colleague a quick search on top of Stop the Steal tweets and their counter speech, but they quickly come up with a solution. De-amplify accounts with the Stop the Steal and the name profile, since those are not affiliated with counter speech. So Redact says, yeah, just a quick search on top of Stop Steal tweets and their counter speech. Kraken, I'm comfortable with top tweets are generally Q related, and I'm noticing an absence of counter speech. It's also super common in profiles. Actually, can we de-amplify accounts with Stop the Steal and the name profile level? Those are not affiliated with counter speech. We'll just double checking, folks. Right. So listen, they're taking Stop the Steal, folks, was on a movement, right? As far as I can see, Stop the Steal was a movement by the people who are for Trump, and they hashtag Stop the Steal. And, you know, they're questioning the election. They had every right to question the election. And just like the Democratic
side, you should be free. That's
right.
Freedom thing. You're allowed to do that.
Exactly. And I never cry when the Democrats were questioning the election. They have every right to. Everybody does. That's your American right to question any election. It doesn't matter what election it is. You have the right to question it. And for them to try to silence these people is just freaking ridiculous. Holy redacted. I wonder who this is. Okay, moving forward. Dear God. My nose. Oh, wow. Okay, we got one more to get through after this one. But it turns out that even blacklisting Kraken is less straightforward than they thought. That because Kraken, in addition to being a QAnon conspiracy theory based on the mythical Norwegian sea monster, is also the name of cryptocurrency exchange and was thus allowed listed.
Ooh.
That's right. That's right. Yo Ross says, also think adding Kraken to the various bots may have broken something. No, but for when you're back. Oh, you guys, I removed Kraken the other day, FYI. It did break something. There's an app called Kraken app or something. Hold on, I'm going to open up the image because I want to just see if there's anything else. They're questioning it now. They're realizing that Kraken is also an app, which I do know that cryptocurrency.
Yeah,
app.
there's also a Kraken gym. Like there's Kraken. I mean, there's all sorts of Kraken shit. Kraken beer, Kraken alcohol. There's all sorts of shit.
If we allow us that, no concerns about putting it back, but would want to see if there are other FPs. The brand Kraken account is allowed listed FWIW.
For what it's worth.
Right. It's a crypto exchange. So interesting. So by doing that, they shadow banned essentially the app as well. I'm hoping the people of the app are reading this and have read these Twitter files,
you can't sue Twitter now for it, right?
Right.
Can you?
Can they?
Yeah, but
just
that'd be
because
you're suing Elon basically at this point.
But would it turn? See, that's the thing. Like, what is going to
You don't
happen,
sue previous ownership. You sue the entity that is. Right.
Right.
So if you sue it now, you're basically trying to sue Elon.
Right. Well, let's see what goes on here. I'm seeing an interesting tweet thing here. Employees struggle to whether punish users who share screenshots of Trump's deleted January 6 tweets. We should bounce these tweets with a strike given the screenshots violate the policy. They are criticizing Trump, so I am a bit hesitant with applying strike to this user. Right? So they're criticizing Trump. So I'm really contemplating if I should, ban this user or give him a violation. So Fenny 850 Gems for Hugh Tile tweets, fuck off. Oh my God. Even Twitter says it's inciting violence. Let me read Trump's post. These are the things and events that happen when a sacred landslide election victory is so unceremoniously and viciously stripped away from great patriots who have been badly and unfairly treated for so long. Go home with love and in peace. Remember this day forever. Oh my God, Trump told me to go home in love and peace. That's it. I've got to go storm the freaking people are fucking idiots.
Yes.
Excuse my language, so folks. I'm known for my language, so please bear with me. There's no inciting of violence once yet again in that tweet. Do you see any words of violence? Do you see anything that can be
landslide? Those are typically not very good. Viciously and stripped away. Those could be words. Unfairly treated. Those two words read together can be violent. Yeah, man. There's a lot of violent words in that thing.
God.
Right? I mean, that's how they're
that's how they're taking it, right?
It seems like, right? I mean,
right. And there is a little disclaimer. This claim of election fraud is disputed, and this tweet can't be replied to or retweeted or liked due to risk of violence.
It's insane, dude.
Right? So what if a user dislikes Trump or objects to Twitter censorship? The tweet still gets deleted, but since the intention is not to deny the election result, no punishing strike is applied. If there are instances where the intent is unclear, please feel free to raise.
How do they know what the intent is, though? That's what I don't understand.
It's up to their own interpretation.
Yeah, that's what's weird.
So I'm going to go click on it here. So I don't even like the man, but I'm not going to put up with Twitter deleting opinions they don't like. So it's the same tweet. And then it says, I am in agreement. One off works for commentary strike if a tweet is agreeing with the tweet's view. What if it's neutral sharing opinion? Like told you it violates Twitter policy, tweet delete only. I would agree with the tweet delete only on agreeing with the policy. Can I get your opinion here? Would agree on delete only if instance where the content is not shared with abusive intent. Thanks, everyone. There are instances where the intent is unclear. Please feel free to raise.
That's the intent is unclear. How is the intent unclear there? What is the ambiguity about that fucking post that people can't understand the message that he's saying?
Right. I mean, this person is legitimately saying, hey, I don't like Trump, but I'm not going to put up a Twitter deleting opinions that they don't like. Like they're understanding that, hey, Twitter's going ahead and just deleting stuff
because they don't like
they don't
it.
agree with it. They don't like it.
Yeah.
So they're deleting. This user's like, hey, listen, I
Like
don't like the
that's
guy.
wrong. Like that's
It's
unethical.
wrong.
Right?
Exactly. So what they're saying is, hey, this person on the left actually has a fucking brain, but we're still going to go ahead and delete that post because we don't agree with it.
Yeah.
It's fucking bullshit.
All right.
Around noon, a confused senior executive in advertising sales sends a DM to Ross. Sales executive Jack says, we will permanently suspend Trump if our policies are violated after a 12-hour account lock. What policies is Jack talking about? God, I got to freaking blow my nose some time. Hey, y'all, have a question. Read Twitter safety thread, read POTUS, and Jack's email. Jack says, we will permanently suspend if our policies are violated after 12-hour account lock. Nothing really there. Hey, JP, for eternal awareness, this would be any policy violate, not just limited to elections, but before sharing anything, please coordinate with on the comm side. Obviously, a ton of interest in our position on this. Want to ensure that we stay aligned. Hey, Gary, we've been at this now for an hour and 33 minutes. I really do need to take a latrine break.
Let's take a $5.
All right, let's take a fire. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick 5 and be back. Nothing's going to be killed here with our feed. Luckily, where I do a lot of streaming, I now have a little thing here from Epidemic that allows me to play music that's not copyrighted. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, well, it is, but it's tied to my account name on my socials. So we're going to go ahead and play some little holiday jingle trap music for y'all while we take a quick break. We will be back in about 5 minutes. Please bear with us. We got to take a quick break.
I'm going to mute my mic and
fantastic idea. Same. I can't mute my mic because otherwise they won't hear the music. All right, we'll be right back. Oh, shit. My phone. All right. Let's go back live. Yeah, I know. I got a hot mic. Unfortunately, I have to have a hot mic when we do it. Bringing us back now. All right, folks. Sorry for that. Nature calls.
I
Okay,
couldn't hear
hold on.
that music either, by the way.
You couldn't hear the music?
Uh-uh.
Weird. At least I think it was playing on the Wisdom app, so hopefully it did play on the podcast. Otherwise,
Okay.
I'm gonna have to look for dead air.
Well,
All
1
right.
minute, 1 hour and 38-ish minutes in.
That's crazy. Yeah. Can I set a? You know what? I can flag a marker flag right there. Perfect. All right. I put a flag there.
There you go.
Fantastic. I think that worked. We'll find out.
We'll just
Folks, I'm
remember
getting
the-
used to the whole. Yeah, I remember to finally record from the box. So we have this whole box system set up for those who don't know. So I think the music played on there. Let's go further into this. Like I said, I'm sorry that I had to take a break. Unfortunately, I drank like 32 fluid ounces of water during the hour and a half so far that we've been on this show. It's already going longer than I expected. Moving forward with the show here, we're back onto the Twitter files. Right now, we're on Michael Schellenberger. And he wrote, what happens next is essential to understanding how Twitter justified banning Trump. Sales executive, are we dropping the public interest policy now? Ross, 6 hours later, in the specific case, we are changing our public interest approach for his account. Oh my God, I can speak so much better. I also took an Afrin break. I love Afrin. All right, let's go with this. We'll connect with Com's team for sure. One last question. In the past, we exempted policy violation from a world leader due to the public interest value. Are we dropping the public interest now? And any new violation could be a trigger for me to understand. Again, we'll check with Com's. We cannot share publicly. Going back over Yoel response. Apologies for the slow reply. I've been back to back all day today. In the specific case, we're changing our public interest approach for his account to say any violation would result in suspension. We aren't completely getting rid of the public interest approach, though we do have work planned on revisions in H1 2021. So here they're looking to change it just so they can go ahead and ban Trump.
Yep.
Because Orange Guy's bad, right? Orange Guy doesn't go with our agenda, so he's got to go.
He has mean tweets, man. He talks a lot of shit.
Scary.
All right.
I mean, who doesn't talk shit?
Dude, his tweets were fucking hilarious, by the way.
Oh, they're epic, dude. I always got a good laugh. Like, I'm loving Elon's tweets now, man. Imagine
Dude,
if Twitter,
so
if Twitter still controlled it right now. Oh my, freaking Jack Dorsey was still in there. Dear God.
Dude, it's really good. It's really good.
It is. So the ad executive is referring to Twitter's policy of public interest exceptions, which allows the content of an elected official, even if it violates Twitter rules, if it directly contributes to understanding or discussion of a matter of public concern. And I'm not going to go ahead and click on that photo because that photo is just a clip of that policy. Michael, excuse me. Roth pushes for a permanent suspension of Representative Matt Gaetz, even though it doesn't quite fit anywhere. Duh. It's a kind of test case for the rationale for banning Trump. I'm trying to talk to Twitter safety team into removal as a conspiracy that incites violence. Let's go ahead and pull this up here. I hate colds. Gotta love Maine weather. All right. So here we go. Redacted says, what's latest on Antifa claims? Anything brewing policy-wise? C is yelling from the other room that we should just ban Gaetz. Yoel responds, yeah, SP and SI are working on that. It doesn't quite fit anywhere, right? But I'm trying to talk safety into treating it as an incitement. I think we'll get over the line for removal as a conspiracy that incites violence. Vijaya was directionally okay with it. So wait a minute. Are they talking Antifa? I'm a little lost here on this one.
They're just trying to see if what else is a violation of policy.
Right. All right, so let's move forward. Around 2:30, comms executives DM Roth to say they don't want to make a big deal of the QAnon ban to the media because they fear if we push this, it looks like we're trying to offer up something in place of the thing everyone wants, meaning Trump ban. We're good either way, we'll discuss, but I'm generally in the space of let's start taking action and not doing big comms push around this. We can explain why if we're asked, but worry if we push this, it looks like we're trying to offer up something in place. Oh, yeah. So now they're talking about it.
Well, now they understand the cat's out of the bag a little bit,
Right. That evening, a Twitter engineer DMs to Roth to say, I feel a lot of debates around exceptions stem from the fact that Trump's account is not technically different from anybody else's and yet treated differently due to his personal status without corresponding Twitter rules. And this is just a picture here, pretty much stating that email. Going down, Ross' response hints at how Twitter would justify deviating from its longstanding policy to put a different spin on it. Policy is one part of the system of how Twitter works. We ran into the world changing faster than we were able to either adapt the product or the policy. So here's the funny thing, right? They're like, they've got to try to figure out how they can censor Trump, how they can ban Trump.
How can you change your own rules?
Right.
How can
exactly.
you break your own rules
so you can do what you want to fulfill your agenda?
Yep.
This is some scary shit.
Yep.
All right, moving forward. The evening of January 7th, the same junior employee who expressed an unpopular opinion about ad hoc decisions that don't appear rooted in a policy speaks up one last time before the end of the day. We already read that one. That was that speech. I think that was the basement employee. Earlier that day, that employee wrote, my concern is specifically surrounding the unarticulated logic of the decision of Facebook that space fills with the idea of conspiracy theory. That all internet moguls sit around like kings, casually deciding what people can and cannot see. And that's just that right there. They outline it right there. Oh, shit. The employee notes later in that day, and will Ormus noticed the inconsistency to link into an article for a 1-0 at Medium called Facebook chucked at its own rulebook to ban Trump. I remember that article. Folks, you can find all this right on Twitter as well. At some point, if you want to just double check or want to see these images for yourself, we are showing them on our video, The Mark G Show, on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. But if you'd like to click on these articles and see them, you can go ahead and find them on Twitter. The current user we're reading is Michael Schellenberger. Right now, they're just showing the article that was written by 10medium.com. Just going to proceed to move forward here. Facebook suspension of Trump now puts Twitter in an awkward position. If Trump does indeed return to Twitter, the pressure on Twitter would reamp up to find a pretext on which to ban him as well. Indeed, and as Barry Weiss will show tomorrow, that's exactly what happened. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of Michael Schellenberger's Twitter files. Dear God. I really wish there was just one reporter, but I kind of get why they are doing this, because they are building up a profile for all these reporters, right? They're trying to help these reporters out. So that's my guess. Maybe, doing it in the forms of the posts that they're doing it, I think they're doing it to get their algorithm up there on these posts. That'd be my guess. I don't know. Elon's the genius on figuring this out, right?
Right. He's got something going on.
He does. He knows what he's doing. That's why he's a billionaire. Good Lord. Okay, we're on the last ones they're released. So let's get forward on this. Barry Weiss, we're back to her. She confuses me with her post, but I'm going to try my best. On the morning of January 8th, President Donald Trump, with one remaining strike before being at risk of permanent suspension from Twitter, tweets twice. 6:46 a.m. The 75,000 great American. Oh, no, I was right. 75 million. Right? I am right. Look at that. Fuck. I question myself and then re-question myself. 646, 75 million great American patriots who voted for me, America first, and make America great again will have a giant voice long into the future. They will not be disrespected or treated unfairly in any way, shape, or form. Okay. That doesn't sound right. I guess so.
Unfairly. That's a bad word.
It's extremely bad, right?
Right.
7:44 a.m. To all those who have asked, I will not be going to the inauguration on January 20th. All right. Thank you, Eric White. I thought it was million at first. Thank you, Eric Wettrick, from Facebook. And there's the tweet. For years, Twitter has resisted calls, both internal and external, to ban Trump on the grounds that blocking a world leader from the platform or removing their controversial tweets would hide important information that people should be able to see and debate. Our mission is to provide a forum that enables people to be informed and engage their leaders directly. The company wrote in 2019, Twitter aims was to protect the public's right to hear from their leaders and to hold them accountable. So, you know, what's funny is, remember how we were talking about the beheadings earlier into the show?
Yeah.
That's what they were using to save that information. When they were
Right.
saving a dictator from posting, they went back to this policy. They went back to this policy in regards to that. But after January 6th, as Matt Taibbi and Shellen Hamburger or whatever have documented, pressure grew both inside and outside of Twitter to ban Trump. I got to move down a little bit here. There were dissenters inside Twitter, maybe because I am from China, said one employee on January 7th. I deeply understand how censorship can destroy the public conversation. Let me
Wow.
Right? So, folks, this is internal messaging here. So let me open this up. So Redacted says, maybe because I'm from China, I deeply understand how censorship can destroy the public conversation. Thursday, January 7th, 2021 at 10:20. I understand this fear, but I also think it's important to understand that the censorship by a government is very different than censorship of the government. The First Amendment in the U.S. and similar legislation in other countries with similar concepts exist specifically to prevent the government from silencing the people. I respect that, but respectfully, we impose far stricter rules on effectively everyone else on the platform. We started labeling, right? We started labeling, restricting his tweets when they became a threat to democracy. We seem like that was our red line yesterday. He clearly attempted to overthrow our democratic system of government and showed no signs of remorse.
What?
If this is not clear reason to suspend him, again, as an unhinged ruler attempting to subvert the most powerful democracy in the world, I'm not sure what would be. Shrug. How?
What?
How?
What was the
Because he spoke and said, I want to recount. He questioned the election. He was a threat to democracy. How? Hillary questioned the election when she ran on Trump. She said
person
that the Russian
started out with so much like logic and reason, and then
right?
They had me at the first half. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, remember, this is a two-way conversation. This is another person talking.
Whoever that last person talking is out of their fucking mind.
Right? Exactly.
That's all I know.
So, yeah, like, let's keep moving.
God damn.
But voices like that one appear to have been distinct minority within the company. Across Slack channels, many Twitter employees were upset that Trump hadn't been banned earlier. After January 6th, Twitter employee organized to demand their employer ban Trump. There's a lot of employee advocacy happening, said one Twitter employee. So here we go with another, looks like internal conversation here. They were reaching for that third strike. Yeah, they're definitely reaching for that third strike, Eric. I definitely agree with you.
Absolutely.
All right, so going back, the names, folks, please note that the names are redacted. So there is no names within this Twitter file. So when I'm talking, please know that there is a multi-conversation going on.
We have no idea who's saying what.
Right. I am still struggling to understand the decision not to ban Trump altogether, given he is inciting people to violence that has led to people being killed. And I think we owe people an explanation externally. People being killed. BLM. That's all. This is the elephant in the room. Sorry, folks. That was me commentary. It feels like Twitter policy is engaged with someone acting in bad faith, and we won't acknowledge it. Do we have any belief that Trump will stop tweeting incitements to violence? If Alex Jones was shut down for get your battle rifles, he's far exceeded that standard. I think a lot of employees must share these concerns. Is there any sort of channel or group where we can organize more action? There is a lot of employee advocacy happening both here and in Q2, whatever that is. I understand he was our president, and that may have been the reason why we were hesitant to do it. But I think come January 20th, there's absolutely no excuse why his account shouldn't be suspended for good. I have friends with 1K 1K followers and it stops right there. There is no.
So is there, hold on, is there,
hold on, I got you.
Back. So what does it say? is there any sort of channel or group where we can organize more action? So this is just a hyper liberal company with liberals inside getting into groups, developing little think tanks, trying to find ways to bend the definitions of rules and find people guilty of anything and everything that they felt was against what they liked.
Exactly.
Just little fucking think tanks all over the place. They're
There's
just
a fiction
like,
expedition.
dude, it's fucking weird. That's a cult. That is a cult. And I'm gonna say the same shit goes on the right wing fucking party as well. You know what I mean?
No,
They're not.
Right.
The only unfortunate thing is the right wing people are not this organized. Let's be
Right.
honest. Too fucking inbred to be this organized.
Dear God.
That's the truth.
Folks, my brother. All right, let's keep moving. Oh, shit. All right, moving forward here. We have to do the right thing and ban this account, said one staffer. It's pretty obviously he's going to try to thread a needle of incitement without violating the rules, said another. Let's go back to this. This isn't part of that conversation. That's a bunch of redacted. That last sentence, we have to do the right thing here and ban this account. It says it 3 times. Holy crap. They were really aggravated. We don't have a good track record of acting on his account, except in the clearest and most explicit of cases. And even then, in my opinion, extraordinary circumstances demand extraordinary leadership. It took 3 years, but I've lost faith. Actual votes, Donald Trump, Republican Party, 232, 46.9%, 74,223,744. Second, it's pretty obvious he's going to try to thread the needle of incitement while not violating the rules. So here they are trying to say, hey, we know, we think Trump is going to incite violence, but he's going to do it cautiously.
Yeah.
Well, we read his last tweets. There was no incitement of violence. There was not even a hint of violence. But yet they still banned him. Let's move forward. In the early afternoon of January 8th, the Washington Post published an open letter signed by over 300 Twitter employees to CEO Jack Dorsey demanding Trump's ban. We must examine Twitter's complicity and what President-elect Biden has rightly termed insurrection.
Washington Post is a fucking left wing. Doesn't the dude Amazon, what's his name? Little bald skinny guy.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I know who you're talking
Amazon.
about.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Amazon's
he own,
owner. Yeah.
Washington Post?
I think so, yes.
Hmm.
But the Twitter staff assigned to evaluate tweets quickly concluded that Trump had not violated Twitter's policies. I think we'd have a hard time saying this, and this is incitement, wrote one staffer. It's pretty clear he's saying the American patriots are the ones who voted for him and
Bezos.
not the terrorists.
Thanks.
Yes, Bezos.
Eric.
There you go.
Bro.
Or Bozo. Bozo.
Yeah, it is Bozo, but Bezos.
It's pretty,
words are hard, man.
They are.
It's been a long week, even though it's Monday.
Right. It's pretty clear that he's saying the American patriots are the ones who voted for him and not the terrorists. We can call them that, right? From Wednesday. So wait a minute. So they're calling American patriots, and Twitter's where. Let me reread this. My listeners, please comment in the comment section here, or even chime in on wisdom right now. Let me know what you think of this. Are they calling American patriots terrorists at this point on Twitter? I'm going to reread this phrase. It's pretty clear he's saying the American patriots, quotes, are the ones who voted for him and not the terrorist. And then in hypostrophes, we can call them that, right? From Wednesday. Are they calling American patriots terrorists in that paragraph? Is that what I'm getting from that?
It's what it sounds like.
Or is this just my maniac brain just playing games with me? It's what it sounds like, right? All right. Another staffer agreed. Don't see the incitement angle here. Let's go back into the eternal files. All right. So IC has pinged us to ask about incitement for the DJT tweet, and we want to Donald J. Trump tweet, and we want to see if we can decline it. They have a link to the tweet over there. I don't see it though. Redacted says, I don't see the incitement of fear. What PC could it be trying to incite fear about? I don't see the incitement of fear. What?
It's the same
Okay,
thing.
the same thing
copy and
over and over again. Jesus. Okay, I think we'd have hard time saying this is incitement. It's pretty clear he's saying the American patriots are the one who voted for him and not the terrorists. We can call them. Okay,
Oh, that's
why do
Trump
they do
saying
this
that.
to me?
That's Trump saying that.
Is that Trump saying
The
that?
American patriots are the ones who voted for me and not the terrorists. We can call them out, right? Like the people who are not voting against him are the terrorists.
Okay,
That's what Trump is saying right there.
is that was those are
That's
Trump's? Okay,
that's what's being said.
okay. Let's move forward. I also am not seeing clear or coded incitement in the DJT tweet. Donald J. Trump tweet. Donald J. Trump tweet wrote, Anika Navaroli, a Twitter policy official, I'll respond in the elections channel and say that our team has assessed and found no bios or violations for the Donald J. Trump. Let's see. Let me just pull that up. That just might be the conversation there that we were just talking about. That is the conversation. I'm just going to show you all the image there and move forward.
Cool.
She does just that. As an FYI, safety has assessed the Donald J. Trump tweet above and determined that there is no violation of policies at that time. This is just them talking about it, saying that it's been not violating. Moving forward, later, Navaroli would testify to the House January 6th committee. 4 months, I have been begging and anticipating and attempting to raise the reality that if we made no intervention into what I saw occurring, people were going to die. Next, Twitter safety team decides what Trump's 7:44 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tweet is also not a violation. They are unequivocal, and it's clear no violation. It's just to say he's not attending the inauguration. To understand Twitter's decision to ban Trump, we must consider how Twitter deals with other heads of state and political leaders, including in Iran, Nigeria, and Ethiopia. Iran's Ayatollah Ali Khamenei tweeted, Israel is a malignant, cancerous tumor in the West Asian region that has to be removed and eradicated. It is possible and it will happen. Twitter neither deleted the tweet nor banned Ayatollah.
That's what I'm saying. That's fucking
right.
It's that kind of language that the left is really, really good at, and it's a very controlling language.
It is. And Eric, right?
Israel is a malignant, cancerous tumor in the West Asian. Like that's God, that fucking language, man. People who use that language are automatically red flagged in my life. Like anybody that uses that language, I will not associate with in real fucking human life. I'm done.
Right.
I don't have the patience. I don't have the patience to deal with those people. It's too much. Too much. I'll disagree with that one.
Eric, I will agree with you. Lying to Congress is definitely a crime, and there's got to be answers to this. And Bogues, hey, to each their own. I'm going to digress and move forward here. In October 2020, the former Malaysian prime minister said it was a right for Muslims to kill millions of French people. Twitter deleted his tweet for glorifying violence, but he remains on the platform. The tweets below was taken from the Wayback Machine. You can see the tweet right there. It says, Muslims have the right to be angry and to kill millions of French people for the massacre of the past.
Bananas, dude.
Muhammadu Buhari, the president of Nigeria, incited violence against pro-Biafra groups. Those of us in the field for 30 months who went through the war, he wrote, will treat them in the language they understand. Twitter deleted the tweet, but didn't ban them. In October 2021, Twitter allowed Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed to call on citizens to take up arms against the Tigray region. Twitter allowed the tweet to remain up and did not ban the prime minister. I obviously can't read this, but it says this tweet violated Twitter rules.
You can't read that?
Nope, I cannot read that language. I'm
Come on,
sorry.
Mark.
I know. I guess I'm going to have to go to college.
It almost looks like hieroglyphics.
It does.
That's
don't get me wrong. It's a pretty cool. It's like
it
pretty
looks
cool
kind
writing,
of dope.
like
it's
right?
very interesting. Those are like very interesting characters.
They are.
Well, then go back. What is that? What language is that? I'm just gonna jump down a rabbit hole. Is that Tigranian? What the Ethiopian? Okay,
Ethiopian. Yeah.
That's Ethiopian.
That's pretty cool. I mean, don't get me wrong, but damn,
Okay.
I know. All right, folks. Sorry, that's our brains going a little chaotic here. Let's get back on subject.
All right.
All right. 24. In early February 2021, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government threatened to arrest Twitter's employees in India and to incarcerate them for up to 7 years after they restored hundreds of accounts that had been critical of him. Twitter did not ban Modi. Let me show this real quick. What's this? So this looks like it might be a news article. Twitter blocks accounts in India as Modi pressures social media. The platform's problems in the country offer a stark example of the difficulty to adhering to its free speech principles amid government worries over its influence. Really? But Twitter executive did ban Trump, even though key staffers said that Trump had not incited violence, not even in a coded way. Wait, let me repeat that. Twitter executives did ban Trump, even though key staffers said that Trump had not incited violence, not even in a coded way. Interesting. Less than 90 minutes after Twitter employees had determined that Trump's tweets were not in violation of Twitter's policy, Vijay Gadde, Twitter's head of legal policy and trust, asked whether it could in fact be coded incitement to further violence. We're going to pull this conversation real quick. Remember, folks, she's been fired. She was the first one to get fired when Elon Musk took over.
Ethiopian alphabet looks fucking gnarly, dude.
You're looking it up.
Dude,
Vijay Gadde says, thanks. The biggest question is whether a tweet like the one this morning from Trump, which isn't a rule violation on its face, is being used as coded incitement to further violence. If you have any context or insight, we should consider I'm all ears. E.g. use of term American patriots, and they will not be disrespected or treated unfairly in any way, shape, or form. This is an interesting question. I am going to speak with my team ASAP to see if we can run a quick survey to get reactions to the language contained in the tweet and get back to you. I'm not sure I would rely on a survey. I worry about how that would be perceived externally. Wondering if we have anything in past research that could be relevant.
They're just digging.
They're digging hard, dude.
Twisting the definitions of words just so they could do whatever they want to do with it.
They're like, screw the shovels. I'm getting the excavator in here. We're fucking digging hard. All right, let's move forward. A few minutes later, Twitter employees on the scaled enforcement team suggested that Trump's tweet may have violated Twitter's glorification of violence policy if you interpreted the phrase American patriots to refer to the rioters. Oh, okay. Let's click on this. Going over here, folks. This is so deep. All right. This person is redacted except till when we get down to Anika. So Anika is going to be the last one I read. Scale is asking if we could consider Trump's tweet for government. If we consider American patriots to refer to the rioters, they have a point. From POV, team, my laptop is frozen. I will rejoin ASAP. He has said they understand our position, but will continue to push their GOV assessment with leadership. They see it that he is the leader of a violent extremist group who's glorifying the group. And it's so they're calling Trump. Wait a minute. Right in this phrase, they're calling Trump a leader of a violent extremist group.
Patriots.
Who?
People who love America and the Constitution.
Conservatives? Republicans?
Yes. They
Independents
are a
who
violent extremist group.
Damn. I'm a violent extremist.
That is, according to them, if they were to so wait, is this scaled escalation team working with the government, right? Because the last thing they said, oh wait, right here, should we square off with GOV and the no, okay. So in the last one, did they say that they got to give the government agency people?
Well, I'm wondering, square off GOV. I'm wondering if GOV is government.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like,
I don't know.
Are they colluding? Are they like, all right, FBI, this is our angle. Do we get your fucking seal of approval to fucking do this?
The FBI, the DOJ,
whoever is involved, any 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 letter fucking abbreviated agency that's within the government that's really running things, because it's not Biden.
Exactly.
Or it means it wasn't even fucking Trump. but Trump
Right?
at least pointed out all this fucking. All right, let's go.
Moving forward, do you think we should square off GOV and the DJT assessment, or would it be helpful at this point? I think it could be helpful to maybe have a write-up of what bioassessment would look like, just in case scale tips the balance and that becomes decision. Moving
Which
forward,
is bananas.
absolutely, man. Things escalate from there. Members of the team came to view him as the leader of a terrorist group responsible for violence and deaths comparable to Christchurch shooter or Hitler, and on the
Wow.
basis and on the totality of his tweets, he should be deplatformed.
That is such a crazy stretch.
Eric Weiss, I 100% agree with you on that comment right there. I'm going to throw that up there because I agree with that one. They're saying these people are nuts.
Out of their minds, man.
Right. Let's open up this internal tweet here. Just to update you, I spoke to Redacted just now. They understand our assess. Who's the Redacted? They understand our assessment of the individual
probably someone
tweet,
in
right?
the feds.
But they now view him as a leader of a terrorist group responsible for violence and deaths comparable to a Christchurch shooter or Hitler. And on that basis and on the totality of his tweets, he should be deplatformed. They will continue to push that argument with the leadership, and we will see where. I want to know who's
leadership.
Is.
Who's
right?
the leadership?
Who is the leadership? Is that Jack Dorsey or is that above him? And that goes to
it's
the
above
Fed?
him, dude. It's definitely above Jack, and it's definitely above VJJ or whatever.
And could that be why Dorsey told Elon to just push it all out there?
Yeah,
that way there, because maybe Jack Dorsey's ready to open up.
Just
maybe
rip
he's
off
ready
the
to
fucking Band-Aid, right?
Rip off the Band-Aid and say, you know what? Let me tell you everything that went down. Maybe Dorsey's got names that now can come out.
I don't think so, dude. I don't think so. Ultimately, these reporters are now like their lives are in danger.
Oh, they're 100% in danger.
Their lives are in danger.
Their family and Elon.
Elon, his life is in danger because the FBI and the CIA are not happy with all of this coming out because now the people know.
Right.
It's like really not going to matter because people are too fucking dumb and brainwashed to even care.
Right.
But it's like, at least the cat's out of the bag now. So I really I hope these people are all safe. That's all I can say.
Agreed. Let's move forward here. 2 hours later, Twitter executive hosts a 30-minute all-staff meeting. Jack Dorsey, Vijay Gadde answer staff questions as to why Trump wasn't banned yet, but they make some employees angrier. Multiple tweets. Twitter employees have quoted the implementing our policies are like Nazis, following orders, relays Yoel Roth to a colleague. Dude, my computer just tweaked out there.
I mean, it looks fine on my end.
All right, good. All right, clicking on this right here. This is an internal message from Redacted. I'm not sure who should hear this, but if you look at the conversation in whatever that folder is, plenty of employees are not responding well to the 30-minute brief. I feel people want to feel heard and having someone with the right purview to reason with. And yet I am sure Jack and Vijay are totally saturated. I wonder if we can mobilize people who are on the peripheral of decision-making, but not all consumed to engage with the internal discussions. Yoel Ross says, yeah, I've been keeping an eye on it. Candidly, not a lot of people who are close to the decisions would feel safe engaging there. Multiple tweets, they call them tweets, really, have quoted that banality of evil suggested that people implementing our policies are like Nazis following orders, which as someone responsible for our policies who had direct family members in Auschwitz is not exactly an environment I want to wade into. People are angry and want to express themselves, but the way the conversation happens can close off meaningful engagement.
Fuck you, Yoel, you stupid fucking hypocritical son of a bitch. Fuck you. God
and ladies and gentlemen,
and it ends on that one.
It ends on that one. Let me just double check. Let me just go to, hold on. Let me see. Oh, wait, no, look, I had to hit show. I hate this freaking way they do it. All right, we got more.
All right.
Dorsey requests a simpler language to explain Trump's suspension. Roth wrote, God help us. Make me think he wants to share it publicly. Dear God. All right, let's click on this. If we get close to the suspension, analysis of 8chan or Parler is part of the decision. Any links to that content would be helpful for us with trusted, if possible. I'd like those services to pay a price here. Yep, noted. Dell is rewriting the doc per request from Jack to make it simpler, which, God help us, makes me think he wants to share it publicly. Moving forward. 1 hour later, Twitter announces Trump's permanent suspension due to the risk of further incitement of violence. Get ready for these tweets, folks. Oh, sorry. Internal messages right here that I'm pulling up. Team Donald J. Trump is suspended. Oh my God! Exclamation! 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 Ah! Dear God, I so just sound
like a bitch. Such a bitch.
Right? Exclamation! Exclamation! Well, this feels like a piece of history. It is. Saw the message. Thank you, everyone, for your impactful work this week, for the discussion, and for drafting all these complex assessments. I am very proud to work and learn from you every day. Wishing you a good weekend. Once again, this is from the redacted. Who the fuck is the redacted? I want to know who the redacted is. We need to know. Moving forward. And congratulatory big props to whoever in trust and safety is sitting there to whack-a-mole these in these Trump accounts. Let's see. All right. So, yeah, it's just the message says big props to whoever in trust and safety is sitting there whack-a-moling these Trump accounts. Can we get them one of these awesome cards I've heard about? Definitely some extraordinary acts of awesomeness going on around Twitter right now. Don Jr.'s account needs to be what? Now they're coming after John Jr.'s account, which never got
anybody who's got a fucking conservative voice.
Right?
That's wild, man.
All right. So by the next day, employees express eagerness to tackle medical misinformation as soon as possible. Folks, the reason why I go for a quick silence is just because I'm clicking on these images and getting through there. What Redacted said, yes, we absolutely plan to do this in 2021, with the timeline being as soon as possible. COVID is one of the specific diseases. Medical misinformation is much broader category of harmful content. We've laid a lot of the groundwork for policy and product behavior through our work on COVID and the election. The misinfo policy team and TN, whatever that is, along with terms and services, along with the folks in health experience, TWS research, and other teams across the company are now focused on getting to a place of improved maturity and how our policies are actualized across reporting operations, global scale, scope, etc. We'll have more to share on this soon. So, okay, so listen. So they're already talking about, listen, we're going to hold off on COVID. We're going to hold off on the COVID. Essentially, they'll probably wait until Biden comes into office.
Yep.
When Biden gets fucking sworn in. All right. So for the longest time, Twitter's stance was that we aren't the arbiters of truth, wrote another employee, which I respected, but never gave me a warm, fuzzy feeling. Let me get a drink real quick. All right. So Redacted says, very excited to see us handling more categories of misinformation. For the longest time, Twitter's stance was that we aren't the arbiters of truth, which I was respected. Okay. That said, my dad is an MD to give context. And medical misinformation is really hard topic, even for COVID-19. We only covered a narrow category of information. As an example is take vitamin C, vitamin D, elderberry, and xylitol with GSE daily to reduce COVID-19 risk. Good information, creative marketing, or misinformation. Personally, I'm not sure, and I suspect there are views on both sides.
Why are regular fucking people so hungry to control others and what they say, think, do, and feel?
Right?
Why do people want that?
If it doesn't affect them, stay the fuck out of it. That's it.
And it's not for like the safety of other people who might come across that. That's not what it is. Like it is a power and control thing. Has nothing to do with trying to be a good person.
Exactly. No, it's all about control, man.
Yeah.
Number 37, but Twitter CEO Parag, I hate this guy, Parag, who would later succeed Dorsey as CEO, told head of security Mudge Zacko, I think a few of us should brainstorm the ripple effects of Trump's ban. Ergo added, centralized content moderation, in my opinion, has reached a breaking point now. Let me just look at these. I'm just going to look at these files here, folks, and then I'll get them out to you. I think, okay. and how we might adapt. Who are you suggesting? Not sure. A few of us on staff, maybe to start. The future of public conversations feel uncertain to me. To my mind, we need to move fast towards opening up control over policies and enforcement, decentralizing it. Centralized content moderation, in my opinion, has reached a breaking point now. Moving over. Interested to hear what people think now that it's played out in the way it has. I think more question now is the future of public conversation in my mind. This is the end of the road for centralized content moderation. Hard to believe that this approach will be sustainable moving forward. Suggested the mudge that a few of us to get together to anticipate ripple effects and decide on how we want to mobilize for the change ahead. So Twitter is only going to get worse.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. No pictures. Let's get through some of this. You ready? Outside the United States, Twitter's decision to ban Trump raised alarms, including with French President Emmanuel Macron, German Prime Minister Angela Merkel, and Mexico President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador. Macron told an audience he didn't want to live in a democracy where the key decisions were made by private players. I want it to be decided by the law voted by represent.
That's right.
Oh, okay. By law voted by a representative or regulated governments, democratically discussed and approved by.
He's full of shit, but he's right by saying that.
He is right.
He's full of shit, but he's right.
He's right. Merkel's spokesperson called Twitter's decision to ban Trump from its platform problematic and added that the freedom of opinion is of elementary significance. Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny criticized the ban as an unacceptable act of censorship. Whether you agree with Navalny and Macron on the executives at Twitter, we hope the latest installment of Twitter Files gave you an insight into the unprecedented decision. From the onset of our goal investigating the story was, oh, fuck you. Hold on, folks. I ended up scrolling up. So from the outside, the goal of investigating the story was to discover and document the steps leading up to the banning of Trump and to put the choice into context. Ultimately, the concern about Twitter's efforts to censor news about Hunter Biden's laptop, blacklist disfavored views, and ban a president aren't about the past choices of executives and social media company. They're about the power of a handful of people at a private company to influence the public discourse and democracy.
Fucking wild. This
was reported by as a list of the reporters, and once again, the advertising of her newspaper here, the Free Press. Folks, that concludes 5. Wait, do we do 5 or 4?
We did 4 tonight.
4 friggin' Twitter files, and there's more to come from. Oh, geez, hello. Let me remove my screen. Yeah, I'll see my stuff. Hey. So, oh shit. Hold on, bring it back, Gary. Hey, Gary, how are you? That's how we're fucking this shit.
And Mark fucking melted down at the end of the
This has been a long podcast, dude. It's been a while since we've done a 2-hour podcast. But listen, folks, everything that you heard today, everything that we read, you can find on Twitter. Links are all in there. I will link to these reporters into the Apple and Spotify when I upload it tomorrow. This should ultimately scare the shit out of you to see that there's this much control between a private company and how they had some of the control over the election, how they interfered with the election, I should say.
Well, they interfered with the corruption of the government, right? With the federal.
How they worked with the FBI, the DHS, and what was the other third party? DOJ. How they worked with all of them in regards to banning Trump or silencing Trump should fucking scare you. That should tell you that our government's absolutely corrupt. Absolutely corrupt. And conspiracy theorists, huh? Laugh my ass. Right? Yeah. But listen, the government's corrupt. And hopefully with the Republicans, I'm not even saying all Republicans are good, right? There are some bad ones out there too. There's bad politicians, right? But we're hoping with the Republicans we got in the office, once they start working next month, that they start opening up an investigation into our FBI, into the DOJ, into all these government agencies and start cleaning house. They have to. They have to start doing investigations. And we as American people need to demand that. Even if you're on the freaking left, I don't care. If you're a freaking Democrat and you're seeing this right now, If it was tables were reversed and you saw this and it was the Republicans doing this, you would be crying the same thing. You'd be crying you'd be losing your shit.
Cities would be on fire right now.
They would be. They'd be burning down. And I'm not saying go out and burn down, but I'm saying get a hold of your local congressman, your congresswoman, and demand answers. And if they act like they're stupid and they're like, what are the Twitter files? Fucking print them out and show them to them. Because let me tell you what, there's a reason why mainstream media is censoring these Twitter files.
Dude, they're not talking about it at all.
Not at all. We have one local news channel, WGME 13 in the state of Maine, are the only ones that I've seen post them. And they haven't even posted any recent ones. They posted, I think, part 2. They didn't even post part 1. No, they did. I'm sorry. They posted part 1, but they left all the other ones. Matter of fact, someone posted yesterday. I can't wait to see what part 2 brings. My wife comments says, part 2 has been out for a while. But in all reality, folks, you need to wake up. Whether you're on the left, whether you're on the right, whether you're in the middle, I don't care. You need to wake up. You need to realize what happened there is absolutely wrong. Yes, I will 100% agree with you, Eric White, on that comment. But folks, you do need to wake up. This is the longest. We're like almost 2.5 hours in on one of the longest podcasts that myself, my brother have ran in months. Which is probably okay because, you know, we are taking a 2-week hiatus while Gary goes and enjoy some sunshine and some family time on a vacation. I still don't know what a fuck.
Dude, I gotta go on a vacation. I'm losing my shit, man.
Oh man. Well, you enjoy that vacation, my man. And for everybody else, since we're not going to hear from you or see from you then, unless you're tuning into any of my other online social platforms like Twitch or TikTok, I want to wish everybody here a Merry Christmas. I hope you have a phenomenal holiday. Enjoy the time with your family. Because remember, tomorrow is never promised. We're never promised a second from today, or never a second from the second that just happened. We're never promised it. So make sure you give your loved ones a hug and a kiss, even the ones that disagree with you. Remember, it's just freaking politics. And at the end, we are all humans. We need to figure out how to get through this and get along. We can't hate on our neighbors. We can't hate on our family. I'm tired of seeing the division that we have in our country right now. We got to figure out how to get through it. I appreciate everybody tuning in. You guys have a good night and a Merry Christmas. You as well, Eric. You as well. Merry Christmas to you and your family. To all of you on Wisdom here, which is amazing. We've hit 70 listeners tonight on Wisdom. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate everybody out there, and I wish all of you a Merry Christmas. And we will see you guys at the beginning of the year. Enjoy your 2 weeks, Gary. I will give you shit. I will bug you during your vacation. Anyways.
Oh, we'll be talking. We always talk.
That we do. For that, I'm going to end this podcast for now. And to everybody, have a great night. Gary, do you have any final words before I end this thing?
Question your fucking representatives, man. It's just weird. Too much weird shit going on. Question things. Be cool to your neighbors. Buy ammo.
Lots of ammo. I got plenty.
Buy some ammo.
Let's go.
You've been listening to the Snowflake Melter, the Mark G Show. Mark is your everyday hardworking business owner that loves America, and he certainly doesn't mind telling it like it is. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. To send an email, it's on air at themarkgshow.com. And find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at The Mark G Show. See you next time.